doing?
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to get the show going. Yeah,
Oh, what time is it?
Cinco de Mayo.
I want you
I guess we're
to
on.
get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio.
Whoa, what is that? Are we at the end already? Whoa, that was the fastest show ever. Shortest show ever. Thanks for being here, folks. What was that?
There was nothing left. I
Now
don't
we
know.
have copywritten music going.
Why are we?
This is the... What are you doing?
I don't know.
This is the most hilarious start to a show ever.
Good evening,
Wow.
everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio. You're listening to your host, Brian Smith, along with
Co-host Carrie Smith.
giving you all the facts, the late breaking news of the week, wrapping it all up, making sense of it so that when you get to work tomorrow, Monday morning, if you still have a job in this economy that's shrinking and that the participation rate is shot through the roof, you'll know what you're talking about. And if you don't, you can head out to the streets and help other people understand. I just heard a disturbing fact today that 60% of Christians aren't even registered to vote.
Ooh, I heard that this previous week. Yeah, that's... What's
I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't get it.
If you get what you get when you do what you do, your actions have consequences. And if you're a Christian,
Or lack of actions.
well, by not saying anything, you're saying something. And like we talk, if you don't vote, you did vote for the other party.
By not opposing. the other
Correct.
side. Right.
Correct. So you must stand up and you must oppose. So this week we're going to talk about a couple of things that happened, a couple little minor incidents that happened across the globe. Dip a little bit into World War III.
Well, we got to tease them. We got to tease them.
We're going to give you the heads up. We're going to explain how World War III starts. Not quite sure how it ends. We're going to explain how it starts.
Do you want me to do the media bias version of this teaser?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Donald Trump says he's going to quit.
Oh, no.
That's the headline, and we will talk about why he would say such a thing that would just devastate so many followers. And for what reason? Why would he say something like that?
You know, that's
Talk about mixed messages.
That's interesting.
But as a biased media guy, or at least somebody who's playing the part, yeah, that's what I'll say. He says he's going to quit.
Oh, man.
And we will talk about that in our show today.
There will be tears all over the place.
Oh, I thought you said there was going to be tears shooting out of my eyes, out of my whatever.
Yeah, no, they will be shooting out of whatever.
Whew.
Yikes. Okay, folks, well, I just want to give you the heads up, give you the phone number. Go ahead and listen live. You think you got something to add to the show, write the number down, 772-49-SMITH, S-M-Y-T-H. Again, that number is 772-49-SMYTH. Smith, give us a call, give us your opinion, and if we like it, we might keep you on for a little while, if you know what you're talking about.
And if you are not listening live, or you don't know whether you're listening live, you could call and leave a message, and we will address whatever concerns that you have in the following show.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And not only that, but if you go, if you do listen to us live and you don't want to call in, there's a comment tab section that you can actually comment and talk to us live while we're on the air. So there's many ways to stay plugged in. Speaking about staying plugged in, meet up with us on Facebook.com/Smith Radio. You can also get a hold of us on Twitter. Twitter is pretty live.
Our handle is at Smith Radio.
And
don't forget the spelling. S-M-Y-T-H.
And if you're a visual person, which I tend to be, those memes, if you will, they really get me. They get me going.
What, on Twitter?
No, on Instagram.
Oh, Instagram.
We've got a lot of new followers on Instagram. I didn't realize it was so big, but now that I've been
trolling. I got you.
No, I've been helping people.
You're very helpful.
To see the light.
Okay.
You can hit us up on Instagram, Smith Radio. So we're all over the place doing this for you. And currently in the group that we give a lot of information out in on Facebook, it's called Get Us Out of the United Nations. We're posting live, and you can click on the link, come right to us, and listen to us. So, unless you were in a hole, a cave, or maybe
I was. You're going to have to get me up to speed.
Not born. I'm going to throw this out. I'm going to start it off by saying that this guy that I follow, Todd Starnes, he's a writer and a publisher, phenomenal guy. He wrote about the Oregon campus shooter,
which,
on
by
Wednesday.
The way, that happened.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Maybe we should report that.
The shooter was lining people up, and this happened in a community college on campus, gun-free zone.
Of course it is.
They failed to tell the shooter it was gun-free zone. They failed, obviously.
Well, he may have known or figured it out, which is why he may have chose that place.
Good possibility.
Was he a student there?
I'm hearing reports that he was not.
So he didn't just pick that place out of convenience.
Probably not. Now, there's mixed messages on that, folks, and information is still coming out. I had seen a post where he had posted on the internet a night before. He said, there's a lot of good folks like you on that campus. I wouldn't go to school tomorrow.
You might want to avoid it.
Just
like
saying.
That.
Yeah, just saying.
So he's a heart.
Yeah, I guess. So Todd Starnes wrote, and I quote, "The shooter was lining people up and asking if they were Christians. If they said yes, then they were shot in the head. If they said no or didn't answer at all, they were shot in the leg. Christians were martyred for their faith on American soil for at least the first time I can ever remember."
So he kind of did it
remember.
The way we seen in those videos with the ISIS.
Right. So this martyrdom, if you will, is a fact mostly ignored by most of the mainstream media and the White House. New York Times only mentioned that the gunman inquired about people's religion. He was inquisitive. And one cable television news network, CNN Calamity News, opined that the shooter's motives were unclear.
Oh, come on. See, this is what we talk about on this show every week. You are lying. CNN. When you watch CNN, there is a chance, and you could probably put a number on it. We didn't do the study to figure it out, but we can prove to you that when you listen to them, there is a chance, and I would call it a significant chance, that you are actually being bold-faced lied to as you listen. They say things to you that are totally not true, and they do it knowingly because they want to manipulate how you react to it, how you think about it, what you want to do about it. That's what happens to you when you listen to CNN. And believe me, if you think it's just limited to CNN, I used to think, oh, well, no, not Fox News because they're fair and balanced, and for the most part, it seems like they are. And you know what? At one point, they probably were. I would say that that has ceased to exist in the past couple of years. But MSNBC, I think they're even worse than CNN. But,
well, not are they worse, but their ratings are horrendous.
So when you hear CNN say that they are the most trusted name in news, that tells you a little bit about the amount of trust that people have for other news places. They may even be lying about that.
Can they say that?
Yes, because they're lying.
Oh, okay. Isn't the news supposed to tell the truth?
Who's going to hold them to account? Do you know what the original idea was with all these newsletters and newspapers that were being printed back in the 1700s? And everybody's talking about the fourth branch of government as journalism. The idea was, in a capitalist society, if you were to get news that was false, or if a news organization made a mistake in their news, it would so discredit them that it would hurt their bottom line because people wouldn't want to get false information.
Right.
And the sad truth of the matter is, and I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your butt and say, yeah, and that's the way it should be, as long as you know when somebody's lying or not. No, it turns out we live in a society where entertainment trumps honesty.
Yes, it does
Yeah.
at this point in time. I mean, look at all, I don't want to go too far away from that, but I mean, look at everything that they post on TV now, whether it be some kind of fake reality TV show, whether it be, at one point in time, I think MSNBC was going to fade away from news and go into sports because their news outlet was falling apart so bad.
Because it's hard to lie about sports when you're watching it.
Right, but you can always inject your opinion and try and sway. The sports media is just as left-leaning liberal as some.
Of course.
Which
is weird because
You
when you
wouldn't
think of
think so.
football, you think of these burly men like, yeah, I'm a man.
right.
And, you would think that would kind of gravitate more towards, the kind of things that you see on the right side. And
You would think, but there was a radio station out in L.A. I used to listen to all the time early in the morning. It was a sports talk show. And after a while, I had to turn it off. I never listened to it again. It was 3 black guys and 1 old white guy,
Howard Cosell?
just about that old, real dusty.
Okay.
And they railed against the white guy constantly.
Oh, really?
And the white guy was so tender to tiptoe around.
Well, you gotta walk on
birds
eggshells,
and
right?
Eggshells, and these
Yeah.
guys would just rail one side up and down the other about, those white guys. I mean, just all kinds
So
of hateful
basically, they were
stuff
being
like that.
racist.
Oh, yeah, no question
boy.
about it.
That's a shame.
So as soon as the news broke that a man, not quite sure how old he was at the time, but it turns out he's 26, he went into this college campus and asked 9 different students if they were Christians, shot them in the head and killed them. One girl caught a stray bullet and went up her spine. She lived, but she's paralyzed right now. I mean, there's just all kinds of fallout. And then apparently he got in a gunfight with the cops.
All right. It was a gunfight.
Right.
Mhm.
The type of guns he had, I think he had 3 pistols and a shotgun, 3 pistols.
They
and
called it a
rifle.
long gun, which could be
Like
a
a
shotgun or a rifle.
A rifle.
Either or. Because they didn't call it a rifle or shotgun. They just called it a long gun.
Okay.
I don't know why they would do that, but the only way I could explain why they would say something like that is if they didn't know what kind it was. They just knew it wasn't a pistol.
Right. No. Yeah, no, definitely. So he got into a firefight with the cops and then subsequently died. There is a hero in the midst of all of this. Was a
Former service member, wasn't he?
he's a veteran. Some people say he was a Marine veteran. Other people had made the comment that he was Navy veteran. I don't know why you
Okay.
mixed the two of those up, but
Well,
I mean, I know the Navy and
Right.
Marine, they ride together, but
normal people don't mix that up.
no, I would never mix that up. So apparently he charged the gunman trying to protect other people and at one point in time pled with him to stop. Took 7 bullets. Some say
Yeah.
5, but the reports I'm hearing they're credible say 7. Took 7 bullets, broken bones, and taking pictures at the hospital while he's recovering.
Yeah, he looked like he was in a firefight, but I think he had a smile on his face and stuff like that. So
Right. So CNN immediately came out with the facts of the shooter.
wait. What's your definition of fact?
Well, they went on the intranet.
Intranet?
Right.
Their internet?
The one
The
inside
in-house.
the in-house
Right,
intranet
their
of
in-house.
their office.
Uh-huh.
And they found a profile that this kid had posted. I'm sure he had lots of profile on Facebook.
Are you talking about the shooter or
the
the
shooter?
hero?
Shooter. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
The shooter. Posted many profiles. I mean, there are things that I have profiles on that I don't even remember.
I just saw a Facebook photo memorable. Remember when you joined, not Facebook, MySpace?
Yes.
Remember when you joined MySpace and you get one friend
Yeah, which was the dude.
with the white T-shirt on?
Right.
Somebody has that as their profile picture on Twitter. Is that funny or what? I don't even remember the guy's name, but he was like this.
Call in and let us.
It was like a back shot, and he's turned facing you,
Everybody knows that.
and it's the white T-shirt. Yeah,
right. So CNN found a profile of this guy on a dating site.
Oh, right. Okay. I got some stuff to say about this because I got into a massive Twitter battle about it. Now, of course, I win. I always win. Right. But go ahead.
They referred to him as a mixed Republican,
conservative,
conservative, Republican, conservative, non-religious.
Which is, I mean, they're out there. There are conservative, Republican, non-religious people. I mean, there's probably.
Why would they say that? They were desperate.
What do you mean they? What do you mean they?
CNN.
Well, that's what was written on the profile. I saw a screenshot of the profile.
Okay, did you see a screenshot of his picture?
I mean, I only assumed that was probably him.
Okay, the real picture that came out or the CNN picture?
The picture I saw was of a young guy. It looked like he had really short hair, and he looked like he had, maybe he's mixed.
Okay.
White, black, maybe, possibly.
CNN picture is a shaved head white guy.
Oh, that does not look like the picture that I saw.
That's
Brian showed me a picture of a guy who looks he looks like he has very, very, very fair skin, and I would just assume that this picture that Brian showed me right now is just a younger white guy.
That's the picture CNN put up.
Right.
The kid's real picture.
Uh-huh. Well, that's quite a bit different. So it looks like the exact same photograph, but the brightness and contrast have been adjusted.
So much so, look, you can't even see the dark moles on his face.
Wow. Did they really do that?
Yes, they did.
That is the most journalistic malpractice thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's a white guy and a black guy.
Well,
however, it's the same guy.
When you say black, I mean the guy on the left, the before picture, looks like he's mixed. He's probably half white, half black.
Right. I mean,
doesn't look like a black guy.
But I wouldn't even go as far as saying he's light skinned because I've got black friends that say, "Oh, he's light skinned."
I would call that light skinned black.
Really?
If somebody said, "What race is he?" I'd say looks like light skinned black guy.
Right. Okay.
But they bleached the photograph so aggressively. And honestly, if you look at the lips, it looks like they added a little pink to the lips. Look.
Yeah.
It looks like they added color to the lips. Because
do you know who it looks like? Edward Scissorhands with no hair.
That's how light his skin is. But you know what else?
Or no, that guy Snow. Remember Snow? It was a movie.
No. I know who you're
the albino guy.
Yeah,
really.
He had some problems and stuff.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Well, here's another thing. He's wearing black rim glasses. And if you were to completely flood a photograph with all brightness, contrast.
The black rims would fade too.
Maybe. I'm not sure. But if they did, I can tell you by looking at the after picture that they would have went back in and touched that up and made it darker. And that would convince you that the photograph has not been altered because the black rim glasses look like black rim glasses. They don't look like black rim glasses that have been flushed out with the brightness levels.
Right.
And same thing with the lips. On the left, there's no color in the lips, but you can see the fullness and everything. On the right, there's actually the lips are actually pink.
The bleached picture. Right. The bleached picture looks like they added a tinge of the pink.
Like a peach color.
Yeah, wow. Like he was sucking on a peach now and later.
That is atrocious that they would do that. That's unbelievable. That is the most blatant racist, let me not say racist. It is the most blatant and most obvious attempt to manipulate viewers and readers that I've probably ever seen. I could see somebody doing this in a blog.
Right.
Just some guy in his basement that's trying to troll.
Right.
For even a CNN. Local station that's legit. A legit local station to do this would be unbelievable. For a national news network to do it, it just I am beside myself. This is the first time I've seen this. I am reacting to this on air right now, real time. I'm just amazed. I'm disgusted. Absolutely disgusted by that. I mean, I'm not saying if the guy's white, he's white, whatever.
Right.
But what are they doing here?
The picture that they bleached out. Now I'm a white guy. But
if I was black,
German Irish roots, so I'm light skinned. But the summer's over. I've got more color than he does.
But okay, let's say you're black. How would you react to this? Would you be okay with it if you were black?
Seeing that they bleached it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be pissed. Because they'd be trying to manipulate. Because I would be really upset because I would feel like they're trying to manipulate the races. The race card. Why are they making it a race issue?
Am I having a bias here because I'm white and that we're portraying an evil person?
No, absolutely not. Do not take this the wrong way. We are not mad that they faded him white. I'm mad at the fact that they're misleading people. They're lying to people.
So what reason would they have to do this?
Right. Now they're exposing themselves as having an agenda.
And so you think that they're trying to
well, what about the other killer that they desperately wanted to claim that it was a Tea Party member?
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
It turns out he was a gay black journalist of all people.
No, he's Tea Party. Tea Party conservative, gun-toting.
So,
and he had a Bible, too. He was Bible thumping.
Okay, so there's two ways you can look at this. You can look at this as an attack on white people, which there's mountains of evidence that there is a mainstream media I can't even just accuse media in general of having a war on white people. I think it's more of a liberal, Democrat, progressive war on white people.
Right.
On the other hand, you can look at this as a desperate attempt to protect the protected race by just saying, well, that didn't happen. This was not perpetrated by somebody of color.
Right.
Like they're protecting that race or something.
Well, but by them doing that, they made it a race issue.
That's right.
If they didn't even do that to begin with, Carrie and I here on Smith Radio, as colorblind as we are, my knee-jerk reaction would not be, it's a black guy again. Never. No.
Right.
I wouldn't say that.
And believe me, there's as many white mass murderers as there are black mass murderers. So it doesn't make any sense to attribute it to a race, but to see that CNN was trying to do that by manipulating people who look at the picture,
right,
is just disgusting.
So, and if you're wondering what the name of the shooter is, we are complying with local law enforcement in his name's Sheriff Hanlon. We're complying.
Sheriff Hanlon shot all those people up?
No. It wasn't.
We are not CNN over here.
No, the cops killed other people. They didn't kill this one. Oh, no. No, Sheriff Hanlon came in.
Bad form.
That was bad form. Too soon. Sheriff Hanlon came out, and this is what he had to say to all the media and everybody around the world that was listening right after the mass killing.
You will never hear me mention his name. We would encourage media and the community to avoid using it. We encourage you to not repeat it. We encourage you not to glorify and create sensationalism for him.
That's exactly what he wanted.
Yep.
And how do we know that?
Oh,
because
his tweets and his
yeah, he was gushing over the black journalist guy, whatever.
No.
Oh, gay journalist. Gay Tea
man.
Party guy.
Gay man and a gay journalist.
Oh, gay.
I'm a gay man and a gay journalist.
Right. But you don't have that soundbite queued up?
That isn't this show.
Oh. So anyway, apparently he had heard from somewhere, maybe from him somewhere, that the more people you kill, the more attention you get.
Right, and he talked about names of different killers, and he talked about how many they killed and how exciting, how much attention they got from it.
So this was clearly a major part of his motive, and I can't just single him out. I'm going to say everybody from here forward and backwards, all the people in the past, him, and everybody else who may do this in the future, they're all thinking the same thing. I'm going to finally be remembered by somebody for something.
No, you won't, bro.
This guy won't. And you know what? None of them should, and any of the future people shouldn't. And so have fun in hell.
Yeah.
And I would love it if in hell, the devil, Satan,
Yeah.
he keeps forgetting his name. Hey, you, get over here.
Well, you know how the devil is. I mean, he does. Dude, he would screw with you like that.
I could see that happening.
Yes.
I could see that happening.
Oh, wow. So somebody posted up a picture of one of the memes, but it had words on it, obviously. And the meme said, the bravest person to ever live in, bravest person in America was the second student that stood up and said, I'm a Christian.
Oh, the second one. Because you don't know what he's asking for.
Hell, the first one said, yeah, I'm a Christian. And
Not knowing.
right, and he blew him in the head.
Right.
Blew
Because
their-
it could be somebody like a Timothy McVeigh.
Right.
Like, all the Christians stand up. All right, you guys can leave.
Right. Yeah. Whoops.
Talk about choose wisely, son.
Yes. Juxtaposition. So no, but the second one, he's looking at the student with his brains blown out. Second one stands up and he's like, "What's your religion?" And you're like, I
don't know.
Oh, my leg!
Can I phone a friend?
No, and he would shoot you in the leg.
Oh, okay.
So you'd get a bullet to the leg or a bullet to the head.
Are you allowed to cross your fingers and lie?
Well, I talked to somebody about that. Somebody that we both know, and that person said, "Oh, God knows my true intentions. God knows."
That's what the Muslims say. The Muslims say, "Oh, we're going to do all these things that are against," but it just the ends justifies the means.
Right.
So he knows what I'm doing. Allah knows what I'm doing.
He knows what's in my heart. Although
He knows I got to do this.
Right. He knows I had to use that tool to open up my orifice to be able to put all those dynamites in there.
I mean, you got to break a few eggs if you want to make an omelet.
Right. And I'm not that kind of person anyways. He knows that. I didn't enjoy
You got to
that.
sacrifice.
I didn't enjoy that.
You got to
blowing myself up. Sacrification.
Sacrification. Okay. All right. I think we just coined a new word.
Yeah. So you're in agreement with me then.
That you can cross your fingers?
No,
Or
that you can't cross your fingers.
Well, when I was
You
a
shouldn't.
kid, when I was a kid, if you cross one set of fingers, that's opposite. If you cross both, that cancels it out.
Oh, so it's a double.
So you have to cross your toes. Only one set of toes.
Wow.
So any odd number, you're good to go.
Okay, so back in the Bible, who was it that denied Jesus 3 times? Peter. Was it Peter? Peter. You will. He said to his followers, he said, "You'll deny me 3 times before the night's up." He's like, "No, Jesus, no.
We got your back, man.
Man, I'm here. I've been with you through the thick and thin."
Okay.
And then when he was confronted by the Romans, I don't know.
I don't know that guy.
No.
I have never heard his name in my life.
Right. So, and folks, I apologize if I'm not up on the Bible as much as I should be, in the names and the things. But no, I mean it's true. You don't ever deny Christ. You just don't do it.
I wonder if there's been people over in the Middle East that were like, "Hey, I just need to get out of here. I'll go to church when I get back home."
Dude, I hit the Google. I typed in who, DEN.
DEN. Okay.
And it came up.
What came up?
Who denied Christ 3
Well,
times.
that's because they listen to. Listen. When this happens to you at home and you're Googling stuff and you're like, "How did it know?" Listen, your room is bugged. Your computer's bugged. They're always listening to you. And that's how they know.
Right.
They hear your conversation.
So-
and if you're alone, they're actually there's a way that they can use electromagnetic waves to read your mind.
So that's why you make me wear this tinfoil hat every time we go on the air.
I feel like I'm in that George Norrie, what is it?
Coast to coast.
Dude, some callers would be like that.
I've been meaning to tell you this. A couple of weeks ago,
Okay.
this caller went on a tear, on a rant,
of course.
for like a half an hour.
Uninterrupted, right?
Uninterrupted.
Right?
And then finally he was just tired of talking, so he just stopped.
Right. There was dead silence.
George?
Are you still there?
You there?
That is how it always goes. Every episode.
I don't want to go to school.
No, he was asleep.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
So it was Peter. Peter remembered the word of the Lord had spoken to him. Before the rooster crows today, you will disown me 3 times.
Disown. Wow. Okay.
And he went outside and wept bitterly. Yeah. So
okay.
That's a tough one. You know it's even tougher is that, obviously God knows the future, knows everything. What's really tough is for him to tell you what you're about ready to do and it ain't no good. Like you would have a way to not.
To not what?
To not deny him. If Christ said to you, you'll deny me 3 times before the rooster crows, you'd be like, no.
You liar.
You liar.
Oh, no.
You liar.
Yeah, that would be tough.
Because then I would be, you know what I'd do? I'd run away and hide up in the attic somewhere.
Okay.
And just lock myself in. So I couldn't deny anybody anything. I wouldn't see anybody.
So it's kind of like that movie Final Destination.
I hated that movie so much.
For those of you that didn't see the movie, I'm going to... spoiler alert.
Yes. Well, it is... the title Final Destination, so I don't know how much of a spoiler this could be.
So the premise of the series, because there's like 20 of them, is that you're supposed to die. It's a fate. There is no getting out of it. But if you do, which that's the whole point of the movie, somehow they avoid fate. You don't really avoid it. You just delayed it a little bit. And so death chases them throughout the movie.
Right.
So, like, the very first final...
one. And the girl's like, I'm okay. Don't worry about me. It's all good. She steps off the curb, and the bus plows into
that was
her
at the end.
At 100 miles an hour.
Well, what happened in the beginning was they were all supposed to go on some sort of a field trip, or maybe it was spring break or something.
They were on a plane, right?
Yeah, they were going to go on the plane. Something happened where they got off the plane for some reason and they missed the flight and it crashed and killed everybody on board. And they were all like, wow, I can't believe that we dodged death. Well, then for the whole rest of the movie, they all die one at a time in gruesome deaths because they were supposed to die. And since it's almost like up in heaven, God is doing roll call.
Right.
And he's counting the souls.
Brian.
Bueller. So he's up there like Ben Stein calling out roll.
And you mean he's as old as Ben Stein? Because I think Ben Stein's a couple thousand years old.
Yeah. Is he even still alive? So when they get to your name, he realizes somebody's absent. So that's when everything's got to stop. And he goes and he says, somebody bring death in here. So the old Grim Reaper comes in. He says, we're missing some people. And then he gets yelled at, and he has to go down to Earth and find these people that are absent.
Right.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
So that's how Final Destination works.
Okay, so Todd Starnes also writes, President Obama's behavior in the aftermath of the massacre was quite frankly unpresidential. Instead of calling for religious tolerance, he delivered an unhinged tirade on gun control.
Of course.
Quote.
It's getting quicker now.
Yeah, quote from Obama. Yeah, somebody, somewhere, will comment and say, Obama politicized this issue. Well, this is something that should be politicized. And I've got the sound clip of that.
Oh, I'm going to hear it again? I thought that was it.
No,
that wasn't the sound clip?
that was the full version of the sound clip. Where are we at, Mr.
Well, the point is that he's politicizing these things. Like he's there's no more shame.
Okay, here we go. 1C, 37 seconds. Ready?
Okay.
About this after Columbine and Blacksburg, after Tucson, after Newtown, after Aurora, after Charleston. It cannot be this easy for somebody who wants to inflict harm on other people to get his or her hands on a gun.
It wouldn't be so
I've had
easy.
to make statements like this too many times.
Too many times to make
Communities have had to endure tragedies like this too many times. And each time this happens, I'm going to bring this up.
Is that music?
Each time this happens,
Are they trying to usher him out of there?
Say that we can actually do something about it, but we're going to have to change our laws.
Were they playing the music to get him off a stage?
I think so.
What the heck was
think so.
that?
That was the end.
Okay, so he said it can't be that easy. It wouldn't be so easy if there weren't all these gun control laws. There should be encouragement of the Second Amendment. If everybody was armed, it wouldn't be that easy. I just solved the very problem that he presents. He presented the problem. Smith Radio presents a solution. He flat out said, it can't be this easy. Well, the reason it is because nobody's armed. You got these gun-free zones.
Well, it was Trump who came out this week and said that that this wouldn't happen if all the teachers some of the teachers been armed,
Or some of the students.
Yeah. Oh, students are definitely not. Oh, here's Trump's thing. Here's Trump's thing. Trump gave a speech this week to a crowd of Tea Party toddlers.
The Second Amendment to our Constitution is clear. Now, this is in light of what's gone on with Oregon. You know, every time something happens, they blame. They don't blame mental illness, that our mental health care is out of whack, and all of the other problems. And by the way, it was a gun-free zone. I will tell you, if you had a couple of the teachers or somebody with guns in that room, you would have been a hell of a lot better off.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been so
You would have
easy.
been a hell of a lot better off. The Second Amendment guarantees a fundamental right that belongs to all law-abiding Americans, right? I wrote this.
What?
The
How old is
Constitution
he?
doesn't create that right. It ensures that the government can't take it away, right? Can't. They're doing all sorts of moves to try and take it away. Our founding fathers knew, and our Supreme Court has upheld, that the Second Amendment purpose is to guarantee our right to defend ourselves and our families. We need that.
Wow, this is a great speech.
In fact, I have a license to carry in New York. Can you believe that?
I can't believe that. I can't believe that. It's New York City. I can't believe that.
When he said that, can you believe that?
I bet you all the cops were like, "Oh,
he called himself out. We know who to get now.
Now we know where it is."
The one gun in all of New York City. We know where that one gun is. Trump has it. He went on to say that if somebody comes to kill him, he said, "I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to kill you too. I'm going to kill you."
He did?
Yeah.
Oh,
went
that's
on.
sweet.
For some reason, I couldn't find that portion of soundbite, but the quote was, "You know, I have a license. You wouldn't believe it, but I've got a license in New York, carry a gun. And if somebody comes to attack me, I'm going to kill. I'm going to shoot."
You know, all of his handlers, all of the people in the offices that are working his campaign. This was said months and months and months ago.
You mean the team of people in the hundreds that he has on Twitter using his name?
No.
That's him, really?
Yes, that is him. That is him. You know how I know it's him? Because some of them are a little bit audacious, and I don't think he would trust anybody else to post audacious stuff.
I would agree. Because he's too...
If it was all vanilla and it was really banal and it just really wasn't all that...
Did you just invoke John Boehner's name?
Oh, is it John Boehner? John, that's actually a good word to describe him. John Boehner. So, yeah. So, no, if that's the kind of person, if they were really political and politically correct and just like sounding like, you know, something Jeb Bush would say or something like that, I would be like, yeah, it's this team of people. No, I mean, when you look at the stuff that he writes, you're like, oh, that's definitely Trump for sure. So anyway, God, Obama, I mean, he almost answers his own question. And I'll tell you what, there are a lot of Tea Party conservatives out there that are really worried about Trump because they look at him as this former Democrat, New Yorkian type of guy that doesn't really understand flyover country. And on what basis would he understand the Constitution? One thing I will tell you about Trump that makes me give him a big chance when it comes to the Constitution. I should say two things. Number one, the birther thing. The fact that he was going after Obama on the birther thing based on the Constitution makes me kind of take a second look. Like, well, wait a minute. Maybe he does value the Constitution and not just the rule of the city of New York City.
Right,
You know what I mean? So
Because it's being run by communists.
But I also understood that he may just be trying to throw anything at the wall for Obama and seeing if it sticks. But then the second one was to have the balls to come out and say, hey, the 14th Amendment does not allow for anchor babies. And I thought he was wrong initially.
Well, and
to this day, nobody's sure whether he's right. And even he said he admit that there's going to be a fight.
Right. He, I don't know if I had a sound clip earlier of him talking about that. Where he was given another, Trump on immigration.
Yeah.
I get a soundbite on that where he goes off
Is it about
on
the
that.
14th Amendment?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
You can play it.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
You have illegal immigrants in many cases. In Chicago, illegal immigrant. The bad ones are getting out fast. Day one. If I win, day one of my presidency, they're getting out. We're getting them out, and we're getting them out fast.
Out of prison?
Over a period of time, we're going to work on numerous things. The first thing is building a wall, which Mexico will pay for. There's a very big question as to the anchor babies. They've been talking about it for years. There's a very big question as to whether or not the 14th Amendment actually covers this. We're going to find out whether or not it does. Changing the 14th Amendment would take years and years.
He's right.
A long, drawn-out process. A lot of people think that it is absolutely, in terms of anchor babies, that it is not covered. So we're going to find out. But look, here's the story. Here's what happens. Wait a minute.
Reporters are fighting.
Wait. Here's what's happening. A woman is going to have a baby. They wait on the border. Just before the baby, they come over to the border. They have the baby in the United States. We now take care of that baby, Social Security, Medicare, education. Give me a break. It doesn't work that way. The parents have to come in legally. Now, we're going to have to find out what's going to happen from a court standpoint. But many people, many of the great scholars, say that anchor babies are not covered. We're going to find out. Yes.
I hate that was so ambiguous.
Wait,
I hate
right.
that the 14th Amendment allows for that kind
No,
of ambiguity.
it doesn't allow for that. It has been manipulated by lawyers and
Wordsmiths.
Yes.
Changing definitions and stuff like that.
because saying that you are born in a country makes you instantly a citizen. I believe that we're the only country in the world that allows for anchor babies. So if that be
But that's because of the way that they interpret the 14th Amendment.
well,
That's
then
why.
riddle me this: if it's such a good thing, then why are we the only country in the world that allows it?
Some people would say it was a mistake. It was an oversight on the authors of the 14th Amendment that they just never considered anchor babies. Or, remember, back then, the country was a lot more fledgling, a lot more young. There was more of a desire to try to build the population, stuff like that.
Right.
Maybe they were counting on anchor babies. Maybe like, hey, maybe this will give people incentive to come over here.
Right, but now you've got criminal individuals who are trying to, take advantage of our system and our laws.
So I have the
Go ahead.
text of the 14th
Okay,
Amendment.
go ahead.
Section 1, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Meaning, like, okay, I'm a citizen of Ohio or something like that. That's the first sentence. And it goes on, next sentence, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. But the very beginning, the very first sentence, all persons born or naturalized in the United States. So either you were born here or naturalized, which means you went through a citizenship process in the United States. And then here's where the big ambiguity comes, comma, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. So you can't just be born here or naturalized. You have to also be subject to the jurisdiction thereof.
Well, then,
what the hell does that mean?
In my mind, that means there is a law that says you can't you can't break the border illegally, and so you're subject to that jurisdiction. You just broke that law, so you can't be the 14th Amendment.
The reason
you broke a law to be.
I cannot argue.
You see where I'm going with that?
I can't argue against that. I can't. I mean, what you're saying.
I just thought of that off the top of my head.
No, but I mean, what you said makes perfect sense. But then there's other people that are saying that if you're in the United States, you're also subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, which means you apply here. But why even write the sentence?
Right.
If just being here makes you subject of the jurisdiction of the United States, then why even write that sentence? It's redundant. It's a redundant statement. And let me tell you something. The founders, during our founding of the country, and a lot of people would say those that wrote any part of the Constitution since then, were very smart people, and they would never have any need for any redundancy. In fact, if you read the original documents, there really isn't much redundancy. What they said meant what they said, and the need to rewrite another sentence to reiterate it or to back it up in some way, to them, was just a waste of ink. Why go through that process of being redundant? So it obviously meant something for them to say, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. What most people were saying, I'm talking constitutional scholars, are saying that the reason that sentence was, that additional part of the sentence was put in there, was to cover those born by families of diplomats. So let's say you're a Spanish citizen of Spain, and you're a diplomat, and you come over and you're living in the United States, so you are here. Your whole family is. You live here, but you're a citizen of Spain. You are not jurisdiction, or you're not under the jurisdiction of the United States laws. You're under the jurisdiction of Spanish laws in the United States. And therefore, when that family has a child on U.S. soil, that you would that child is not automatically a U.S. citizen. That's exactly what they say, and I believe that that's what they meant. But if you were to ask the author, are we also talking about anybody in the United States that's not supposed to be here? And I think that if the judges who are in charge of making the final decision on this have any intelligence and wisdom whatsoever, they will say, yes, that includes anybody who's here that's either not supposed to be or are already legally under the jurisdiction of somewhere else, which would be diplomats or anybody here illegally.
Correct.
And then here's another question. What if you're just here on a green card, which means you are here legally, you are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, the laws of the United States.
But you never go back and your green card expires.
No, let's say you do go back.
Okay.
But while you're here, your child is born.
It's different.
Because
you did it legally to begin with.
Well, you're just there on a green card. You're just there, worker's visa or whatever it might be.
Oh, no. That doesn't count. Because you're not a citizen.
Well, no. You're born there or naturalized there and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. If
you're legally here and you're working here for whatever reason, and you have say you're here for a couple of, if you come here and you're already pregnant, I got a problem with that.
Okay, so that's something that we should look at. Like, wait a minute, we want you to work here.
Right.
We're okay with you coming because GE wants to hire you.
Correct.
And you have the qualifications that they need. You're an expert in this field, and they need that.
Right.
And you want to work there. However, by you taking the job at GE for, let's say, a 2, 5, 10-year contract, whatever it may be, you're also bringing over your wife that's 2 months pregnant.
I got a problem with that. Because if she comes over, the lawyers manipulate the system.
What if you're okay with that? What if you're okay with that child being a U.S. citizen? Is it okay to be selective like that? Like, well, hey, this guy, he's going to come over here legally on a worker's visa. He's a citizen of another country. He plans on going back when he's done working at GE. But his child's born here. Maybe we're okay with that child being a citizen because he was born on U.S. soil.
Other countries wouldn't count that as a.
But we're talking about a
citizen.
tiny minority of people born here.
Okay.
Now you've
I'll let that one
flooded
slip.
with illegal immigrants. None of those people.
Right, on trains
so,
and boxcars.
So
by
now
the
here's
thousands.
Ben Carson's argument. Ben Carson's like, there's just no way we can. It just would be a humanitarian crisis to send everybody back. And here's what he's talking about. Here's the argument. You have an illegal immigrant come over in the 70s. Child was born to illegal immigrants
Right.
on U.S. soil
Right.
in the 70s. They're now approaching 40. They have grandchildren on the way. They were born in America. They've been here for 40 years. They have kids. They have grandkids. Under Donald Trump's idea, all those. I mean, what do you even do with the child? How would we address a child born to a parent who was born in America to grandparents that were here illegally? What would you do to the grandkids then?
Right.
And what great grandkids?
Yeah.
You end up getting into this muddy, muddy water. And here's why it's such a shame. Because we let it go this long. We let it go so long that we have grandchildren and great-grandchildren of illegal immigrants. And how the hell do you deal with all that?
I don't know.
The only way I think the compromise, here's the compromise that's going to happen. It has to. I just don't see. I think there's going to be a date cutoff, and it might be the day that it's announced that we're doing this. That might be the grandfather. If you had been in here up to January 1st of 2016, you're grandfathered in.
Okay.
So we're talking millions and millions of illegal immigrants that are now going to be allowed to stay here forever. And children of that would not be legally considered U.S. citizens by the 14th Amendment. Okay, so once that is grandfathered in, we build the wall all the way across. I'm talking Berlin Wall style, double wall, guard towers, machine guns, drones.
Did you see the walls that wrap around the Vatican?
I think I may have seen pictures.
These are like 50-foot high.
Oh, yeah, really,
concrete, solid concrete, 50-foot deep, 50-foot high.
How big is the Vatican? Is it really big?
Well, yeah, it's a couple square blocks. I mean,
come on! We're talking about thousands and thousands.
Pull up the walls that Israel's built.
Oh, okay.
Some of their walls are just
And that's
absolutely
a big
amazing.
I think if you stretched out the border of Israel, you'd probably go across Mexico.
Oh, I would believe so. I would think so, yeah.
All right, so once we build the wall, we come out and say, all right, we got this date that if you are here, there may even be categories. Like if you were born on soil to illegal immigrants, you're good. We'll go ahead and we'll let you pass. But then after that, I think they're going to uphold, if there's any justice and sovereignty of America, they're going to uphold if you're born here from here on out to illegal immigrants, you are not a citizen here.
Yeah. They're going to have to do something.
But you're not
look at these walls. Look at these walls that they've got.
Oh, my God. You know what it looks like? It looks like maximum security prison.
Yes. If you can keep maximum security...
We're going to turn Mexico into a maximum security prison.
And make them pay for it.
And we are the land of the free because you had to break out of the prison that is Mexico.
Wow. Yeah, there's no question about it. When you have such a corrupt government that's just so god-awfully corrupt.
It's just bad. The whole thing is just bad. You know, you need a constitution and you need a citizenry that is God-fearing and full of just everyday common sense morals.
So
you know
there's
what I mean? And before, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but real quick, I just want to get everything clear to anybody listening, my opinion on this. My opinion is I would love for Donald Trump to somehow be able to pull off taking every single illegal immigrant and every anchor baby ever born and just getting him out of here. And saying, let that be a lesson to every future person from outside the United States who thinks they're going to pull this off. That's what's going to happen to you. I would love for that to happen, and I'm not being a xenophobe. I'm not being racist. It's just that we really have lost our country. We have. Yeah. I'm not saying, we lost it to the Democrats who are communists. I'm talking, there are no borders. We don't have a country.
Right.
It's just not existing. We got people who come to America for the benefits, and then they fly a flag on their flagpole in their yard of their native country. It's like, do you not want to be American? Are you not happy to be here?
I want to take advantage of all your money and all your systems, your streets lined with gold, and I'm gonna bring my religion and my peoples here.
If you want to come here and wave the American flag
infiltrate.
and say, finally, I've escaped oppression, I've escaped this horrible place, and now I'm in a great place, and I want to embrace it. Hey, I'm cool with that. And there are a lot of Mexicans who have actually done that, and whatever. But if it's done illegally, rule of law, you got to take the consequences.
Right. No,
but
absolutely.
I think because this has gone so long, gosh, could you imagine that kind of humanity? It would be equivalent to the Trail of Tears.
Probably.
Which,
would be pretty.
by the way, I kind of support that too because it's called winning a war.
Right. And sometimes you have to do what you have to do.
You gotta do
That's
what
what
you
they
gotta do.
say.
There's consequences.
All's fair in love and war.
Yeah, so
there's a reason why
it
they
would
say
be
that.
the second Trail of Tears, and 200, 300, 400 years from now, there'll be people saying, "Look what the United States did to the Mexicans."
But it was the only way.
They made the Trail of Tears too.
Well,
Terrible.
Originally, we'd conquered all of Mexico, and we actually gave them back what they have now.
So we could have just said,
Could you imagine if we still owned all of Mexico?
did we ever?
Yes.
All of
we
it.
conquered all of Mexico at one point in time in our
I'll
history.
have to bust out the
And
old
then-
Google on that one.
And then from Dinesh D'Souza's movie,
Okay.
America, Imagine a World Without Her, he shows how in the Mexican-American War, we literally conquered all of Mexico. And then at one point in time said, you know what, we'll give you back this much.
Never forget the Alamo.
Yeah, never forget.
Davy Crockett.
So there's down on the border of Arizona, there's what they call Band of Brothers. They're voluntary patrol, and they patrol the border down there. The Arizona Border Recon, made up of vets, former private security officers, border the U.S.-Mexico border. They stop illegal immigrants, drug smugglers, and human traffickers, all while providing intel to border agents. Huh? What? We got volunteers doing the job of the border agents?
Well,
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that.
Well, no, I don't have a problem with it either. But why aren't the border agents doing it? Because Obama pulled them off the border. They are not allowed to go within like 8 to 10 miles of the border.
Yeah, I think the most, this is old news, really, really old news. But remember all the stories of the government putting up giant signs in the middle of the desert on American soil that said, American citizens, you need to stay away from this area because it's a high traffic zone of bad people from Mexico.
Right.
How is that not literally
Acknowledgement.
No, it's a retreat and a giving up of a part of your land.
Right.
It's like saying, "We're going to move this border. We'll let you
Move
have
it this
that.
way."
We'll let you have it.
We're going to call it the DMZ, and we're just going to keep moving the DMZ further and further.
Well, we need
north.
we need to make the border in an area where if you go outside of it, you're in danger.
Right.
It's
Wow.
like it's a no man's land.
So you heard that thing on Trump's press conference on immigration, and then moving to the Middle East on immigration. Still breaking news
The
on
migrants,
the migrants
coming from the
Japan came out this week and said, "Oh, we need to take care of our own before we take care of anybody else."
that sounds Mexican.
I did, didn't it?
A little bit.
I can't do a Chinese.
SA.
Can you do a Chinese
I
accent?
used to be able to, but I don't.
Oh, Sarah, you America.
There we go.
You here for hour. You hurry, you buy.
There we go.
We need to take care of our own people before we get refugees.
Think Miyagi. He was Okinawan.
Oh, I was thinking of him with chopsticks.
Oh,
Catching that fly.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
Daniel-san.
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 So, yeah, and then in Prague this week, the Czechs also begun to rise against the Muslim invaders. They're calling them invaders now.
Oh, and you know what? Let's use words to describe things.
Tens of thousands took to the streets in protest. I mean, it was all up. The guy with a video camera was videotaping it, and it went. The protests filled the entire streets. There was no way to get any cars through the streets, and this street went for miles on both ways. And they were all carrying banners and signs, "Take back our country. Stop this invasion."
I love it.
Even Trump this week made the comment that this is an invasion. This is how ISIS, this is how Islam, this is how they conquer America if we allow this to continue to happen.
Yeah, and I mean they would have to fly over or come through the Mexican border, and or Canadian border. But I don't see Canada putting up with that crap. The thing about Mexico,
Canada's not down with that.
Right, and the thing about Mexico is even if they weren't down with that, they're in such disarray and mess. How would they even know what to do in order to prevent it? We can't trust that they would. If the president of Mexico came to us and said, "Hey, you don't worry about it. We'll take care of it." Do you think that was even possible?
Yes.
You don't worry about it. We'll make sure that no terrorists get across the border to you guys.
Watch the movie. Get the Gringo?
I have no idea.
Yeah, Mel Gibson. Get the Gringo.
Is it a period piece?
Yeah, Get the Gringo by Mel Gibson. It's one of those really bad ass movies that he makes.
Oh, he always does.
Yeah, it's a really, really awesome movie. So he's on the border of Mexico and America, and he's driving this car, and apparently he's either running guns or running drugs. He's doing something he shouldn't be doing. And so the American cops are chasing him, and something else. And so he ramps his car over the border, lands in Mexico.
Dukes of Hazzard style.
And then the Mexicans get him.
Okay.
And then they take him in, and he goes into the so-called, air quotes, prison.
Okay.
In Mexico. And it's like a jailed city.
Okay.
There are no guards. There are women and children and different rooms. There are different rooms, different buildings, different hallways. There was walls keeping them all in. You got the drug cartel there. You got people running drugs on the streets inside this place.
Okay.
Oh, it's just all. It is, if you could imagine a complete city with absolutely no morals, no scruples, no rules, no leaders, except for like drug cartel or whoever the strong man is in that little area. That's what it is. And it just depicts Mexico as just this god-awful third world country.
Well, I was just about to say third world is a very good phrase to describe it, because I've only been to two places that outside of America that are just not what you would consider first world. One is Korea, South Korea, and the other one is Mexico, and they are very, very similar. I mean, just people doing whatever they can, selling whatever they can from little street corner buildings and shops and tents and whatever, and that's their existence, and it's really, really primitive. And Mexico, right there, across the border from San Diego, one of the richest cities in America or whatever, all these mansions and everything, and you go across the border and it's straight up third world. But that's why you laugh when you think that we would have to rely on them to keep terrorists from going over there and then coming to America across the border. But what's the problem with the immigrants in Europe coming from? What's the issue? Are they refugees?
Well, the issue is the majority of them are grown men that are Islamic and are now raping German women in the streets.
Oh, that is not going to fly. Could
Germany
you imagine?
Germany is sectioning off sections and telling Germans, do not go in this area. This is for the refugees.
So what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Angela Merkel.
Uncle Merkel.
She came out and said, we need these people because we have a population problem. How is that even possible? Wasn't it just like 2 years ago that everybody's talking about how Germany was the crown jewel of the European Union? And that they were going to have to bail out Greece because they were having all these problems because they were the most wealthy nation in the European Union. How all of a sudden do they have to bring in 200,000 refugees to fill in holes in there?
They're talking up to 500.
And they're doing it under the idea that we're going to increase our population because we need them and we're destitute and we're hurting them. And I don't care if they're Islamic and I don't care if it changes our culture and we're not going to be...
See, and that's the problem, too. You'll wind up changing your entire culture.
They have to get rid of Oktoberfest.
Right. We talked about, you and I talked about this when we were at Oktoberfest.
Yeah, and I think we mentioned it in one of the shows that week, too. But, yeah.
They said Oktoberfest is offensive to Islam.
Because it's not Islamic enough.
Well, they're drinking beer and women aren't covered.
Right, because
they're showing
women. Well, the thing
their
about the
dresses
women,
and their bustiers boost up their.
well, it shoves them out. But as far as like cleavage, I mean, their dress almost goes all the way up to their neck. It's just that underneath that, it shoves them out a little bit.
Right, right.
But they also, their dresses, they don't go all the way down.
They show ankle.
They show part of their shin. A little bit of their shin.
So can you see the ankle?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
They have socks that go up to their crotch. Though,
That's not.
So
Wow.
you could see the skin tight socks, and that's a problem.
That's
a major problem.
That is a major offense to.
Okay.
That's how you pronounce his name.
Allah.
Allah.
Okay, all right. Allahu?
So Allah. Let's wrap up. Let's get wrap up guns and Second Amendment things real quick.
Okay.
Geraldo Revolto after the campus killings.
Geraldo Revolver?
Because he hates
Doesn't make any sense.
guns.
But if you were named that, you would think that you were a gunslinger.
Revolto. Geraldo Revolver.
Geraldo Revolver.
Right. He tweeted this out. He said did a Facebook tweet, did a Facebook posting. He said the mass murder at Upica again reveals that we are a gun-sick nation. All the Second Amendment bull beep aside, the gun lobby controls the country and allows armed maniacal lunatics
Maniacal.
to roam free and kill.
Is this coming out of his mouth?
Yeah.
Did he use the BS word?
Yes, he typed it in there.
Oh, this was written by him.
Yeah, it was written. The other news media, they typed BULL ****.
Okay.
They wouldn't write the word bull.
Wait. They didn't write.
They wrote bull, but not the SH word.
Right. What
Comes
would have
after it.
been funny would have been B ***** SH
okay.
but actually wrote it out. That would have been hilarious.
Because they were bleeping out bull.
Right.
Right.
But not the thing that they should be bleeping out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that said, isn't it malpractice per se for any educational institution not to have at least one armed guard on campus trained and ready to fight gunfire with gunfire? Cops are great, but unless someone is right there, armed and ready. Hold on, let me read that again. Cops are great, but unless someone is there, armed and ready, locked and loaded, innocents will continue to be slaughtered by gun-empowered penis envying?
What?
Yes,
he wrote this?
He wrote this. Disgruntled. I got this off Breitbart. Disgruntled, self and life-hating sicko creeps who got someone devoid of conscience to sell or give them a deadly weapon with which to take the lives of people much better than they.
This is a whole load of projection.
Can you feel it?
Yes.
I feel like I just got projected upon.
Whenever somebody says something that doesn't make any sense when they're describing something,
Right.
they're describing themselves.
Oh, it's subconscious coming out.
Yeah, because when it doesn't ring true, it makes you question, well, why did they think it rung true?
Right.
Because it rings true then, because if they were in that position, that's what they would be thinking.
Right.
So Geraldo Revolver is penis envying, apparently.
Apparently he is. And
that doesn't make
the reason
sense.
why he said that about somebody buying guns, the killer actually, it's reported by family members, that a family member actually purchased the guns for him. He gave them the money and they went and bought the guns.
Okay, so the laws probably wouldn't have helped anyway.
Well, they said that 7-day wait actually... No, I'm lying because they bought these over 3 years ago.
So it doesn't matter.
So the
Well,
7-day waiting list...
We need a 4-year waiting period.
You need a 4-year waiting. So if you've got a massive...
Those people would still be alive today.
If we had a 4-year waiting
if
list.
we had a 4-year waiting list.
Well, maybe
It's unbelievable.
Maybe we need a 4-year waiting list so that you can decide whether you really want to create a mass murder situation.
Right, that'll give you time to cool off.
Cooling off period. 4 years.
Did you remember what I wrote on the Facebook?
Yes, I do. Tell me again.
So I'm thinking that any kind of a business, if you do a slip and fall.
That's right. I talked to a guy at work about this.
Yeah.
And he was trying to shoot me down, but I think I've got some more ammunition on this one.
More ammunition? Okay, so here's my premise. We live in a society today, for good, for better or for worse, where if you own something that anybody has access to, you're responsible for making it safe. So, like if there's a slippery floor, you got to either box it off or you have to clean it up so it's not slippery. Because if somebody were to slip and fall, easily a lawyer will be able to go in there and say that this is negligence. And the reason my client is hurt, injured, whatever, possibly not only permanently, but also has what do they call that when you feel bad?
Paralysis. Oh,
when you get extra money.
Suffering. Pain
and suffering. Okay, so there's pain and suffering. You get millions of dollars, whatever. So that's the society we live in. For instance, if you have a stairway that leads up to your front door, if one of those steps has concrete broken on it, they could take a picture. Somebody could get hurt. Lawyer takes a picture of it and says, clearly, this is not maintained properly. He's at fault. The owner is at fault for not having this stairway safe.
Right.
My argument is, if in a country where we have the right to bear arms, if you want to create a private area where the public is allowed to go,
movie theaters.
Yeah, that's a privately owned place where the public can go.
Shopping mall.
And you say, I want to make this a gun-free zone. My argument is that if you want to do that, you are then bound and required and responsible for the safety of everybody that enters that establishment or enters any part of that property, including having I called it an army.
Right.
An army of people that's large enough to protect each and every person who could be there all at the same time. If it's a crowded theater, you need to have an army there, an armed army, large enough to protect all of those people. And if not, if any one of those people gets injured by a maniac, they should be able to sue you for the damages, whether it be injuries or even death, because when somebody dies at work, safe working environment.
Okay, now he posed this. He said, well, if you're at McDonald's and somebody walks in and shoots you at McDonald's, well, that wouldn't play out because that third party. Correct, in the sense that unless McDonald's puts up a big sign that says gun-free store.
Okay, that's a good response. The
point is, you made the statement, this is a gun-free environment. Do not bring your guns in here. So now that you made that a public statement and everybody knows it, if I'm hurt in your establishment because of your rule, then you're at fault.
I like that argument that he made because that's about the only leg you could have to stand on in court. That wait, you can't expect this army. Let's say they did put an army, but it wasn't enough, and some people did get killed.
Right.
I mean, you made it a gun-free zone. Had you not made a gun-free zone, those people could have been responsible for their own self.
Yeah, there was a girl that went in front of I think she went in front of Congress, and the Democrats just tried to shut her up and shut her down. Even if she was on campus, she has a CCW, concealed carry permit, to carry a handgun. She was on campus late in the evening. And she, on purpose, leaves her weapon in her vehicle because she doesn't want to get in trouble on campus, walking around campus to her classes. She was attacked before getting to her vehicle and raped before she could get to her gun in her vehicle. She went up and gave a speech about that on Capitol Hill, and Democrats tried to shut her down and shut her up from even talking about this. So she should sue that campus for forcing her. How can a campus legally force you not to be allowed to carry a gun?
Well, they could say that you they can have you arrested
For carrying a gun. The Second Amendment would keep that from happening.
No. You're allowed to make your own rules on your own private property, and if somebody doesn't want to comply with that, you can have them arrested.
Yeah, but they may be private property, but they take government funds. They take government money.
Oh, you're talking about a public campus?
Right.
Yeah, they wouldn't be allowed to do that.
Because of the Second Amendment.
Right. It'd be the same thing as they can't violate your freedom of speech or religion either if it's a public institution.
However, they do try and shut you down when you talk about Christ on campus.
They try to, but that actually is illegal.
Right.
Just saying. But no, I'm trying to think of an analogy to my argument with the guns and have. I mean, okay, there's a hotel way up, I think in Alaska or possibly near the North Pole.
Right.
The whole thing's made out of ice. It's seasonal because when the summer comes, it melts away. And every winter, they rebuild this hotel. It is literally completely made out of ice.
They used that as a scene in Skyfall.
Oh,
007,
yeah. Okay.
Quantum Solace.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, I mean, it's 007. It is what it is. But it was wicked. They were driving cars through it. They were wrecking it.
Okay. Now, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I'm trying to make an analogy here. Imagine if the floor was made out of ice as slick as an ice rink.
Oh, man.
All right. I don't know if it is or isn't. I don't know. But let's just say it is. Let's say we know all the walls and the ceiling are blocks of ice. But let's say the floor is too. Imagine if they had a sign on the front door before you enter. No spikes on your shoes at all. It's just not allowed. You're just not allowed to come in here with anything that could be used as traction for your feet.
Okay, so you have to walk in there with plastic.
No, you could have boots on. You could have gym shoes on. You just can't have any kind of spikes.
Okay, and so you go in there, you slip and fall.
Right.
Then what?
You should be able to say, dude, if I had spikes on, I wouldn't have slipped and fell. Right. Same thing with the gun in a. You got to give people some way to
protect
themselves from injury, protect themselves from attack or whatever. Same thing with a hotel that has, because I was trying to figure out what about an ice skating rink, and then I thought, well, how about that hotel up in the
No, I think that's probably pretty good. When any establishment makes a rule that you follow that rule and something bad happens to you, then obviously they've got to be held responsible for it because it was their decision to make that rule. And I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm just trying to apply to your rules to my life.
What if you walked in with the spikes on and said, "Listen, dude, I'm clumsy.
We're gonna have to arrest you.
I'm definitely going to slip and break my back if you don't let me wear these spikes."
We got these Slovenian bodyguards that are armed with spikes.
They will kick your butt.
They're gonna take you out.
Right. They're gonna kick you.
Right.
They're gonna stomp you.
So check this out. Some statistics that were thrown around this week. Somebody was throwing it out there saying that America ranks up at the top 5, like the 4th of gun violence in developed nations around the world. However, if you not count Chicago, Detroit, D.C., I think it was one other city.
Atlanta.
You discount those 4 cities, America ends up 4th from the bottom.
So that dovetails perfectly with Hannity's show. I think it was either Thursday or Friday. I think it was Friday, where they had these 2 guests on. And the guy that was for the Second Amendment said... I got to admire. He was very controversial, I guess some would say. He said, look, the key is to get guns out of the hands of liberals. I swear he said it was hilarious. It was hilarious. He said, that's what you need to do. Look at Detroit. Look at Atlanta. Right. Look at Chicago. It's just liberals with guns. You want to talk about gun control, Get the guns out of the hands of the liberals, and we'll be the safest nation on earth.
Yeah. Well, look at some of these cities that are conservative cities. Look at everywhere in the Midwest that
Texas, people, you're not even allowed to walk around in Texas without a revolver.
You saw what happened when those jihadists from Arizona went to Texas.
Right. Oh my gosh.
They weren't even able to kill nobody.
They didn't even get a chance to kill even one person.
No, because they got to the steps and the security guard said, no, I'm going to have to take care of you right here.
Right.
Boom, boom. Done. I think he used one bullet and killed them both.
What?
Yeah, he's that good.
This is a 50 caliber sniper rifle.
He's in Texas. They're that good in Texas.
One bullet.
They can.
Because
they can curve bullets.
That's
in
right.
Texas.
No, it's not them. It's the laws of physics. Because in Dallas, when they shot JFK, that one bullet killed everybody.
Right.
It made like 6 bullet holes.
Ah,
it weaved.
Yeah.
So now that your tinfoil hat's on.
Joe Biden came out this week. He's still undecided whether he's going to run for president. He came out this week and said, "Hey, the villages."
What?
No, he came out and said,
he came out from the villages.
He came out from the villages and said, "Hey, Second Amendment doesn't say you can own an F-15 with Hellfire missiles."
Interesting point. I've actually thought that was an interesting point.
If you had the money, well, Obama has sold Egypt and terrorist nations F-16s,
right,
fully loaded and armed. So,
right.
So if they're the bad guys, I know I'm not a bad
only
guy.
The bad guys are allowed to have it.
Son of a beep.
Well, I guess there's a public safety thing. Like, for instance, my argument was a nuke. What if I just had a nuke in my basement?
Yeah, a dirty bomb.
No, an actual nuke,
right?
Where I could actually do a chain reaction.
Oh, you mean like Little Boy or Fat Man?
Yes.
On wheels, rolling steel wheels, and you could roll around your basement.
Yeah, and I can't get it out of the basement because I'd have to take it up the steps, and it's just not happening.
Don't ask how we got it down there.
Well, no, we built it down there. We brought the stuff down. Yeah, so I had to hide the centrifuges somewhere. So,
wow.
So anyway, yeah. So the nuke in the basement, I'm technically not allowed to have.
Well, I could see because,
or should I be allowed to have?
I don't know.
It's an arm.
Well, but the problem is that the radioactive materials involved in it, all the stuff.
What if I had the means to have that stored and
controlled,
produced and all that safely?
You'd have to have inspections once a year,
just to make sure that I'm not being negligent.
Right.
Because the amount of people that would be affected had I
be an entire cities.
It'd be
the whole city.
They may actually even say, "Look, we'll let you have the dirty bomb. I mean, the clean bomb."
Right.
However, we have a regulation that nuclear material has to be no closer than 2,000 feet from residential area.
Yes, I could see that.
So then I'd have to move to like a rural area.
Right. Build a bunker.
I could have a bunker.
Underground bunker.
Oh, and that might be another regulation. This stuff must be stored at least 1,000 feet underground.
Miles.
1,000 miles. That's how you do. You regulate every. It's like weed. Did you know weed's not really illegal? You just have to get a tax stamp. But
what?
They don't issue them.
What?
Look up the 1935 marijuana tax or something. That's the law or regulation that made marijuana illegal.
So if you go get a tax, a stamp.
A stamp, mm-hmm.
And what do you mean, like a stamp? Like I turn my hand over and he stamps it like at the club?
No, it's like a stamp that you put on an envelope. No, I don't, whatever.
It was probably like the books of stamps that they gave us back in the day when people would smoke cigarettes on base. They'd give you a booklet to buy X amount of cigarettes, and you could get them tax free.
Oh, it's the
stamps,
the Marijuana Tax
Stamps.
Act of 1937. It's a taxation of marijuana, an act to impose the occupational excise tax upon certain dealers in marijuana. They actually use an H instead of a J. I guess that's the English. Okay. To impose a
spell it M-A-H?
That's how they spelled it. It's marijuana with a J. Replace the J with an H. Is how they.
Does it even look right?
Well, marijuana, the J is silent. So they put an H in there to Americanize it.
Oh, so it's like not Mary Joanna.
Right, yeah, you don't pronounce it that way. So, yeah. So it placed a tax on the sale of cannabis. It's the H.R. 6385 Act, drafted by Harry Anslinger and introduced by Representative Robert Dalton of North Carolina on April 14th, 1937.
Yeah, that doesn't even... Putting the H in there does not look right.
Oh, it doesn't look right. No, definitely not. The regulation and restrictions on the sale of cannabis sativa as a drug began as early as 1860. Wow.
But yet you could get opium wherever you wanted.
Huh.
The Chinese opium.
1935
trade.
received support of Franklin D. Roosevelt for the adoption of the Uniform State Narcotic Act. So you know that Franklin D. Roosevelt was a communist.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe me, go ahead and Google. He wanted to come out with a second Bill of Rights. If you know anything about the Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto, and you looked at FDR's second Bill of Rights, you would be like, okay, so these guys were like best buds. They were BFFs, flat out.
Wow.
Oh, they're identical.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So
well, okay. Then there's
that
your
was a little bit of
marijuana.
knowledge for you.
Well, Obama calls for turning in all your guns and firearms possessions, and he references the ban. Thus, we know that other countries, in response to one mass shooting, have been able to craft laws that almost eliminate
Oh, boy.
mass shootings.
So he's lying.
Friends of ours, allies of ours, Great Britain, Australia, countries like ours, we know there are ways to prevent it. So the Prime Minister of Australia, his last name is Vox, V-O-X, Vox, came out and lambasted America for all these mass shootings and mass murders, all these killings and stuff, and said, man, America, you can get on page with us. However, he failed to mention that firearms-related murders and non-negligent homicides began plummeting in America in the mid-1990s. But in America, the decrease in violent crime did not correlate with the gun ban, but with a rapid expansion in the number of guns privately owned. The Congressional Research Service reported that the number of privately owned firearms in America went from 192 million in 94 to 310 million in 09. Subsequently, the firearm-related murder and non-negligent homicide rate fell from 6.6 out of 100,000 in 93 to 3.6 out of 100,000 in 2011.
So it's
literally in half. Cut it in half.
So it's way down.
It's down exponentially down.
Well, then the media's doing a great job of propagandizing everybody, because I didn't know those stats. But if you ask me based on what I feel, I would say, I mean, it's probably up a little bit, but that's because Obama is causing it.
Right. So here's what Obama had to say about how he feels about this country.
Changes, and the behavior of elected officials changes. And so the main thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about this on a regular basis. And I will politicize it, because our inaction is a political decision that we are making. The reason that Congress does not support even the modest gun safety laws that we proposed after Sandy Hook is not because the majority of the American people don't support it. I mean, normally, politicians are responsive to the views of the electorate. Here you've got majority of the American people think it's the right thing to do. Background checks, other common sense steps that...
Okay, hold on. So before I finish the sound clip, he said, the majority of Americans agree. Background checks, and other safety measures. What?
Which means what?
Okay, here we go.
Would maybe save some lives.
Some, not all.
Couldn't even get a vote.
As long as they save one life.
And why is that? It's because of politics. It's because interest groups,
It's because of the
party
Constitution.
campaigns, feed people fear. And in fairness, it's not just in the Republican Party, although the Republican Party is just uniformly opposed to all gun safety laws.
Safety.
He said all.
And-
all. He said opposed to all gun safety laws.
You might want to back that up a little bit.
But-
I'm noticing something, and I don't know why. Did you notice this? I'm sure you did, or maybe you didn't. I don't know. I've never heard the phrase gun safety laws. I think he's trying to change the narrative, the
okay.
word. He's being a wordsmith. How do you want unsafe guns, or do you want safe guns? Oh, I want safe guns. Okay, well, then you're for the gun safety law.
Right.
Oh, this has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. This is about safety.
There was a push. I think it was either George Soros or one of the other communist heads that was funding. Might have even have been global warming alarmist Vice President Al Gore that was pushing for this gun safety law. And if you read into it, it might even have passed in New York. If you read into it, it really had nothing to do with gun safety or gun safety awareness or something to that effect.
Right. They were trying to make it sound
Confiscate
like,
your
oh,
guns.
yeah, we're just making it safer.
Because they twist the language and the words. They
So
twist your
you
words.
got to understand that if the premise of their argument is that guns are inherently unsafe, then any measure to make them more safe means getting them out of your hands
Right.
and getting them away from the public.
Okay, so I backed it up
'cause I wanna hear that.
7 seconds, 8 seconds. We'll see if we got it far enough.
Although the Republican Party is just uniformly opposed to all gun safety laws.
All gun safety
The
laws.
Republican Party is uniformly opposed to all gun safety laws.
First of all, we have a different definition of gun safety than he does. He's calling gun control gun safety. We oppose gun control. We are for gun safety. I mean, I want a safe.
That's what. Yes, that's what it is. SAFE. It's a SAFE Act. New York SAFE Act is a gun regulation law in the state of New York.
Oh boy!
And he's calling
breaking news on Smith Radio. I haven't heard anybody talk about this yet.
Yeah, I ran across it a while ago. 10 rules. Rules of safe gun handling. No, if you type in gun safety laws, you're not going to get anything but safety lessons and safety things.
Because it's brand new. This new language of calling gun control gun safety. Wow, it's like going from global warming to climate change to climate chaos.
Yeah, climate.
Wow,
chaos.
Beware. You guys got to have your antenna up.
SAFE, SAFE Act in New York. Apparently it's passed. Y'all New Yorkers, I ain't going there. I ain't no
Trump's
reason.
there right now. Trump's like, oh my God, we got to put a stop to
But he's
it."
got a gun, so he's okay.
No, he's got a gun, so he's not okay because the government's going to go after him.
Oh, they're coming for him.
Yeah, he's violating the SAFE Act.
And unless we change that political dynamic, we're not going to be able to
Make a what? What happened?
I don't know.
a big dent. Political dynamic. We're not going to be able to make
Hold on.
Hold it.
a big dent
It's called a power
in this
pause.
problem.
It's a power pause.
For example, you'll hear people talk about the problem's not guns, it's mental illness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not guns, it's mental illness. And then they were lambasting Trump this week because Trump was saying that it's mental illness.
You want to hear my new theory?
Okay, holler.
Here comes the new theory. Everybody got their ears on?
Yep.
I just came up with this out of nowhere this week. So back in the 50s and possibly before, there were insane asylums all over the place. And I personally think that a proper facility for separating people that could cause some major problems in society,
Right.
in a humane way, it could be like assisted living for old people, but have assisted living for people that are severely mentally ill. And that would include people who would do the mass shootings, the guy. I mean, if somebody that hasn't done any acts of violence, who did do an act of violence, could get off in the court of law because they would be declared insane,
Yeah.
they should be in an insane asylum even before they commit the act.
So this kid.
That should be I didn't get to my theory, but no, I mean this is a long-winded theory, but it starts with back in the day we used to actually have a place for insane
to commit people.
Yeah, we got rid of them because it was a combination of the people there doing things they should not be doing, like the lobotomies, the electroshock therapy,
right.
All kinds of weird experiments and things that were attempts to heal them or fix them or whatever that we look back at today and we're like, what?
It's got a bad rap.
Really bad rap. That's part of it. The other part of it is that liberals were like, whoa, these people have rights.
The baby in your womb doesn't have a right, but these people alive have your right.
They have rights, and they have rights to freedom and pursuit of happiness. And I guess an argument can be made, but if they're unfit to do those things in a safe way on their own without assistance, then they need assistance.
Well, just like blind people need assistance.
Yeah, and here's my thing. If they need assistance and the family is incapable or unwilling to do so because maybe they're too poor,
yeah,
or maybe they just don't. Yeah, maybe they just. Then they should. And I'm totally cool with having taxpayer dollars fund insane asylums.
This kid would have been in one because he was insane. The mass shooter. He was a loner.
The Colorado theater shooter.
Lived with his mom.
Get off.
Lived with his mom.
Yeah.
This one lived with his mom too. 26 years old. Lived with his mom. Had no friends.
Wow.
Just his mom.
And there's something to say about that. Maybe that had more to do with it than whether he was insane or not.
Well, no. At 26, you know what happens? You're not on your parents' insurance anymore.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Dude was mad.
Okay.
He was going to have to pay for Obamacare.
So here's my theory.
So Obamacare does kill.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that theory. No, here's my theory. Is it possible? This is a conspiracy theory. Is it possible? Oh, totally conspiracy. Is it possible that progressives knew that by shutting all these insane asylums down, that bad things were going to happen and that they could use each and every one of these events as proof that guns need to be controlled and everything needs to be controlled? And instead of saying, well, this guy was insane and we just have a very, very tiny percentage of insane people in our society, instead they're going to convince people that that's the way human beings act. This guy, he shot up a theater. He killed all these people. This guy, he shot up a school and killed all these little 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds, first graders, and it's such a huge tragedy. But it's not that he was insane. This is humanity. This is what we have to deal with. And that gives each and every one of those instances an opportunity for the progressives to implement laws that will be sold as something that will benefit society, but has the actual result of furthering the communist agenda.
Right.
By implementing that puzzle piece of communism. I mean, what do you think of that conspiracy theory?
Dude, that's pretty far out there.
Yeah, so that would be the conspiracy. Is
I was trying to look up the
timeline
of Obama. Obama came out on this mass shooting. I mean, he came out almost instantly.
He was like, "All right, where's the cameras?"
So did it go down already? Oh, it did go down.
Oh,
pull up the cameras, guys.
What was the meme
boys.
that you shared? That one photo that I had to crack up.
How many mass murder shootings do I have to orchestrate until I can get total control of the guns?
Right. Until for those of you who favorited that.
Thank you.
So
Obama said he was embarrassed of this country because of this, and our good friend and yours, Mr. Rush, I am fairly smart. Limbaugh, came out and had his response on all this. Would you like to hear what he had to say?
Yeah. I may have already heard this.
Okay.
Do you have it, Mr. Producer?
Why are we not hearing anything, Mr. Producer?
Mr. Producer, did you not get it? It sounds like you didn't get it. Wow.
That's queuing
we interrupt
up.
this program.
For late breaking something.
Wow.
Passing a law against murder.
Okay, there we go.
Do they think that passing a law against robbing banks is going to stop bank robberies? Do they think passing a law against murder is going to stop murder? Do they think passing a law saying X is going to stop X from happening? Of course not. So what's so magic about gun control? And there you realize, there you learn that it isn't about stopping things like this. What they're really pushing for is not trying to stop things like this, because we've already demonstrated we can't, given their policies. They take instances like this and they rub their hands together in near glee and think of the opportunity to disarm even more Americans. Now, within the subset of liberals, I guarantee you there's some buffaloed, innocent, ignorant, standard, ordinary, everyday issue Americans who mistakenly believe in the goodness of their hearts that taking guns away from people will make us safer. I'm not accusing them. All they are is wrong and short-sighted. But the people that spearhead things like this, like Obama and every other elected Democrat that run out there at first sign of trouble and try to politicize it and capitalize on it, that's the right word. Why would anybody want to try to capitalize on this? And who does? You need to ask yourself, who is it trying to capitalize on this? And I can guarantee you the vast majority of them are going to have a D, a capital D, next to their name if they're on a ballot. Obama embarrassed for his country, wants more gun control. The guy just cleared the decks for Iran to get a freaking nuclear weapon. And he's embarrassed of this country.
I love that. I actually quoted that and tweeted it.
Really?
As soon as it happened, I actually stopped what I was doing and tweeted that last line of his. And it's an amazing, ironic hypocrisy.
Comparing the two. When you set the two right next to each other.
Yeah, he's saying, "Hey, you guys, here's your arms. You guys have the right to have a nuclear weapon." But individual human beings or American citizens who, by the way, have a constitution that defends their right to bear arms. And he's just like, no, you don't need that. In fact, I'm embarrassed that I have to keep letting you guys have it. Meanwhile, the same type of people that feels that way have banned all the insane asylums from back in the day. There are no more insane asylums.
So do you want to hear something that's just going to make you throw up in your mouth?
Oh, boy.
This week was the United Nations Sustainable Development Summit.
Sustainable
Development
Wait, are
Summit.
you saying that that there's development that's just not sustainable?
Yeah, human life isn't sustainable.
Okay.
They found water on Mars, and we're going to go cannibalize Mars.
Oh, boy.
That really did happen. The NASA was blowing that up. Okay, so at the UN summit, Obama railed against America and against guns and Republicans and hating on all of us. However, the president, or prime minister, I guess, President Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner, she's the president of Argentina. She took to the podium, started to speak, and this is what she said. She said, in 2010, we were visited in Argentina by Gary Seymour. At the time, the White House's top advisor in nuclear issues. He came to see us in Argentina with a mission, with an objective, under the control of the IAEA, the international organization in the field of weapons control and nuclear regulations. Argentina had supplied the nuclear material back in 1987 during the first democratic government. The nuclear fuel for that reactor known as Tehran. Gary Seymour had explained to our foreign minister of foreign affairs, Hector Timmerman, that negotiations were underway for the Islamic Republic of Iran to cease with its uranium enrichment activities, or to do it to a lesser extent, but Iran claimed that it needed to enrich this Tehran nuclear reactor, and this was hindering negotiations that Obama and John Kerry were given. They came to us and asked the Argentinians to provide the Islamic Republic of Iran with nuclear fuel. It was Ahmadinejad's administration, and negotiations had already started. Kirchner went on to say that the UN at the UN that when Samor was asked to provide this request in writing, all communications immediately ceased and Samor disappeared.
Disappeared? All right, so
Obama was attempting to persuade the country of Argentina to provide nuclear fuel to Iran.
And by the way, what do we know about Argentina?
Well, they elected their country, the president, in a diplomatic
Democratic
vote.
It was a diplomatic vote.
It's a diplomat. I told them they needed me, and they agreed.
Aren't they a communist country?
No.
Where was Hugo Chavez from?
Oh, he was from
Argentina?
Well, it was Hugo Chavez was elected democratically, but he used executive orders to stay in power and try to destroy the country.
That's what communist premiers do.
Well, yeah, and that's what they're thinking Obama might do, too.
Well, that would be...
No, he was with Venezuela.
Oh, I got him mixed up.
Venezuela.
Hey, we're allowed to correct ourselves on the air.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. No, as long as we catch it. No.
So Argentina's not...
Part and parcel. Well, you got to understand that communism started, the foothold in the Americas of communism was Cuba. And then Cuba spread the disease through South America. And so that disease started to take hold and then try to infiltrate into
America. It's a malignant cancer.
Oh, it definitely is.
On
cancer.
humanity. If you look at humanity as its own body, communism is the malignant cancer.
Right.
And what it does, what it'll end up doing if it really gets a foothold, is send us back to the Dark Ages.
Right.
Absolutely. And I truly believe that it was communism in its own. Obviously, people think, well, communism was invented by Karl Marx in the mid 1800s, and there was no communism before that. No, it goes all the way back to Plato's Republic, and maybe actually Mark Levin says that even Plato didn't come up with it. That Plato was just.
And if you think about it, the idea of it may not have had the word communism, but the idea and the notion and the practice and the putting it into play is certainly something that human beings thought of.
Yeah, Mark
thousands
Levin,
and thousands of years ago.
Tens of thousands. Yeah, Mark Levin pretty much says that since the beginning of civilization, man and masterminds and philosophers were trying to devise the best way to conduct a society, and there were people out there that thought we need to go back to the Garden of Eden and recreate the utopia. And there was even a book written called Utopia, which is where we come up with the word utopia, which was all about that. That book, which was written long before Karl Marx came along, was pretty much describing something very similar to communism. Plato's Republic, it was very similar to a lot of communist ideals. And Leviathan, another very, very similar. Karl Marx came along. If he read all those books, he'd be like, how can I tweak this to make it a perfect paradise, workers' paradise?
It'll be palatable.
Right. So,
and so, so this is what Obama's doing on the back deals. She technically accused Obama of treason by saying that the Obama administration was wanting Argentina to supply nuclear fuel to a terrorist regime that was on the books in our country, on our country's books as a terrorist nation. He took them off that list.
Who did? I mean, which country?
We don't recognize Iran as a terrorist nation anymore.
Oh, come on.
Canada does, though.
I don't even know what Cuba was.
Canada does. So that she tactically was accusing him of treason, in a roundabout way, being aiding and abetting the enemy, if you will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He is definitely a traitor. He was anti-American and hated America before he was elected.
Right.
It goes all the way back to when he's a red diaper baby, which go ahead and Google that.
Right.
First Google red diaper baby, and then after you're done reading about that, go ahead and Google red diaper baby Obama. Google that, and you will see that his mother and his mother's father, his maternal grandfather, were card-carrying members of Communist USA. And they, when Barack Obama was born, he was a red diaper baby and was raised as a communist his entire childhood.
Right. Parents, grandparents.
Frank Marshall Davis was also a card-carrying member of Communist USA. He was friends with the maternal grandfather.
Right.
He then said, "Hey, my grandson needs a mentor. You know, want to hook it up."
And Greg Marshall Davis said, "Sure, I'll take care." Frank Marshall Davis said, "Sure, I'll take care of my son."
Oh,
I mean, your grandson. Whoa! Your grandson slip.
Yeah,
some people believe,
and I can't rule that out.
It's hard to dispute.
I can't rule that out.
Right.
So Frank Marshall Davis, 50-50. He's probably the real father of Barack Obama.
And even if he wasn't, he was the mentor of Barack Obama, the real mentor.
Right. And so it doesn't matter whether he was the biological father or not, other than if you want to make a birther argument.
Okay. That would ruin the birther argument.
It would, because then both of his parents would be born American.
Right.
Which means that Barack Obama would actually be eligible to be president. However, Joe McCarthy dropped the ball by not getting rid of those people and throwing them in prison for being communists, which, a.k.a. anti-American.
Boy, they lambasted McCarthy, too.
Well,
they to this day, they love those liberal Democrats. Oh, you're a McCarthyite.
That's because they are communists.
Right. They're projecting. Yeah. So, guess who else took the stand at the United Nations?
Oh boy, who's that?
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Ooh, I heard excerpts.
Here's one clip.
This is the Churchill of our time.
Here's one clip, and just brace yourself. Put your seatbelt on if you got it. Pull over if you're driving.
Yeah, pull over. That's right.
Home to over 6 million Jews. He pledged, quote, "There will be no Israel in 25 years." End quote. 70 years after the murder of 6 million Jews, Iran's rulers promised to destroy my country, murder my people. And the response from this body, the response from nearly every one of the governments represented here, has been absolutely nothing. Utter silence. Deafening silence.
So all the heads of state are sitting all around, all the presidents, all the kings and the queens, and all these high, everybody, UN presidents, everybody is sitting around watching him give this speech, and he, right now, for 45 seconds, stares every one of them down.
That's the longest power pause I think I've ever heard. It's still playing right now, by the way.
When you see him, his eyes pierce each and every one. He glances over to the left, glances back to the right, glances all
I didn't
over
realize the pause was that long.
Perhaps you can understand why Israel is not joining you in celebrating this deal. If Iran's rulers were working to destroy your countries, perhaps you'd be less enthusiastic about the deal. If Iran's terror proxies were firing thousands of rockets at your cities, perhaps you'd be more measured in your praise. And if this deal were unleashing a nuclear arms race in your neighborhood, perhaps you'd be more reluctant to celebrate.
He then went on to say, and this is bad audio, so I wrote it down. He said, when bad behavior is rewarded, it only gets worse. All of a sudden, there was applause everywhere. Because he was talking about Iran being bad. So when bad behavior, so there was applause, except for Obama's U.S. delegates. They sat there motionless and silent.
Ooh, that's bad.
Just before Benjamin Netanyahu was to speak, just before he was, because everybody's scheduled and they're allotted their time, so you know who's going to speak when they're going to speak. Moments before Bibi was going to speak, Obama called John Kerry and Powers, called them out to do a video teleconference with him. And they missed they weren't there for the entire Benjamin Netanyahu speech.
I'll tell you what, this President Obama is so anti-Israel. And it's not like, here's how I know he's just an anti-Semite. It's not like something happened and Obama is like, oh, you know what? The gloves are off with Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm done with him. No, that never happened.
No.
It never, from day one. Remember the first time that Benjamin Netanyahu came to America and he showed up and there was nobody to greet him?
Snubbed. Yeah.
He went to the White House. There was nobody there to greet him. He was looking around. He's like, where is everybody?
Oh, they're out now. Arby's roast beef sale.
Oh,
where did everybody go?
Yes, you guys remember that commercial.
Arby's roast beef sale.
Yes.
Just chock full of useless information over here.
There's all kinds of instances, like pretty much every single chance that has ever been given to Obama to stick it to Benjamin Netanyahu.
He does.
He went all the way with it. It's not like he was like, I'll give him this little passive aggressive. No, if he could go all the way with it, he went all the way with it.
Right. And now finding out, I mean, Argentina's president, Cristina, coming out and saying this at the United Nations in front of all the delegates, in front of everybody, in front of the world, for her to tell this story, I've got to believe there's credibility behind it. For her saying that Obama administration approached her to give nuclear power or nuclear fuel to Iran before, this is in 2010. 2010.
So right off the bat, they were
8, 9, 10. 2 years into his presidency, his first election, 2 years into it, he sends his boy to Argentina to do a hookup to Iran.
So this has been something that's been thought out from probably before he became president.
Right. They're like, hey, the Iran nuclear negotiations starting to stall. They said they need some more fuel. Once you hook them up.
Hurry up.
Oh, you want that in writing? I'll call you. Don't call me. Right.
Oh,
so there was just a quick little thing, and we've talked about this before, but I saw this. What if I told you Obama could have given every registered voter in America $3 million?
Well, that'd be nice. I'll take it.
Do you know how he could do that?
How could he have done that? Because I'll take it.
By not paying Planned Parenthood and not training 5 Syrian rebel soldiers. What's the total cost of that? Each one, the one Planned Parenthood's $560 million to Planned Parenthood, and to train 5 rebel soldiers to $500 million.
That's worse than Solyndra.
$500 million. So you're talking $1.6 billion.
Well, Solyndra was like $500 billion or something crazy like that, and then they went bankrupt, which is obviously a lot more than $500 million. But that's comparing that to 5 people.
Right.
Only 5? There had to have been more than that.
Well, they were attempting to train more, but it just didn't work out.
Oh, for crap's sake. Yeah. I mean, for all these people out here that are talking about we need to tax the rich and give the poor, we need to redistribute the wealth, look what he's done with our money. It's just the massive abuse.
Absolute insanity.
It's gross. Gross incompetence.
Okay, they're saying Solyndra had 300 million taxed. 300 million.
Oh, I thought it was in the billions.
Well, when they filed for bankruptcy, it was in the billions, but part of that money was taxpayer dollars and guaranteed loans.
So, like grants?
Well, no. They went to the bank and they said, we need $300 million. And they said, dude, no, we can't do that. And then he said, well, Obama said he'd co-sign for it. And they were like, oh, we're good. Why didn't you tell us? Here, we'll show you to the. This is the private suite.
Oh,
we'll take you to the private suite. And so they showed up. They got the $300 million. They got Obama's signature. They defaulted on the loan. And what happens when students default on their student loans and their parents co-signed?
They're on it.
The parents on the hook for the money.
Right.
So Obama was on the hook for the money. He's like, hey, I got a check. I got a pen and a cell phone too. Where's that checkbook? Bring that checkbook. Call the IRS. Tell them to give me my checkbook.
Call the Federal Reserve and get them printers going.
Get them going. Get them warmed up. We're going to do a lot of print.
I need quite a few pallets of $100 bills here. So they got the old forklift and paid them off.
Just started chunking duffel bags of money at them like nobody's business. So I know we talked about communism, but we really need to talk about communism.
Okay, let's talk about communism.
So I know that as kids growing up, we always talked about World War III.
Well, yeah, because we grew up in the Cold War, and it was a war.
And it was so cold.
Well, I don't know.
The whole time it was cold.
I don't know. Actually, Robert McNamara said, hell, it was hot.
It was hot as hell. Now, so we always didn't daydream about it, but we always thought about it, and it was always in the back of our mind, what would the World War III look like? And somebody had said to me, he was older and I was a younger kid, he said, yeah, World War III would be a religious war.
Oh, well, right. If you go past the Cold War, then USSR fell. If you do what we did, which was ignore communism because we thought it fell and it was over.
Well, yeah, it was
because
done.
We were young and stupid.
It was defeated.
You look to the next thing. You had 9/11, and then you had Muslims doing their thing, and then we had non-Muslims saying, hey, we need to watch these people and put a stop to them and battle terrorism. And then when you realize, wow, this is escalating, getting worse, it's not getting better, then you start to think, well, I guess the future of war in the world is going to be Muslims versus non-Muslims, which that'll be our World War III.
So 2 weeks ago, Obama and Vladimir Putin shook hands and agreed that, that Syria, all that stuff in the Middle East, we're done with it. We're not going to butt heads. Conflagration. We're not going to run into each other.
Okay.
Said, okay. So Wednesday morning, come across the wire as I was watching the news. I was watching the ticker tape, and it was coming across the wire.
Right.
Vladimir, and we talked about this last week. I told you he put air bases there in Syria.
I was like, whatever. Putin's not doing that.
It is amazing that he put them there so fast. And then I heard he's flying sorties.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And sorties are when you get your aircraft together and you fly missions in the air and you scout out places and then come back and fly up and down, up and down. We used to fly,
it's like a piece of a mission.
Right. Sortie. And we would fly so many sorties per month and every day. So he started flying sorties. And I kind of made me a little nervous. Like, man, he's really pushing the envelope. So we're probably a couple months out on this. Maybe something else. So Wednesday, holy hell, Batman! All crap breaks loose, and he starts blowing everybody to pieces.
Yeah, and the initial reaction of John Kerry was, you could hear. I didn't see it. It was because I was listening to it on the radio, but you could hear it right through the speakers that John Kerry was like, I'm not sure what's going on here at all, but I'm going to put this really delicately because I don't want to upset Putin. I don't want to upset anybody, but right. if he's going to be against ISIS, we're okay with that. We're for that.
Right.
Well, but they weren't sure.
No.
Well,
no,
I
not at
say
all.
He wasn't sure.
Well,
he wasn't sure, but he was kind of sure that he was against those opposing ISIS, but he didn't. But he wanted to kind of throw that out there as just like a maybe they messed up.
Right.
After he said that, all of a sudden, opposition forces against ISIS were just getting blown to smithereens.
Right.
And then that's when they came out with another press release that said...
So what Kerry just said is that Putin was blowing up everybody.
Well, no. We didn't know that yet. Initially, John Kerry was
they were blowing up ISIS.
I hope you're joining us in the battle against ISIS, is what Kerry was saying. But he wasn't sure.
Putin made it clear
by blowing the hell out of opposition forces.
And telling America, stay the bleep out.
That's right.
Stay away.
Before
this ain't
the
yours.
first sortie.
This ain't yours.
Let's tell everybody the whole story. Before the first sortie, they sent a courier, a messenger, to the top-ranking general in Syria for America and said...
it was a pigeon with a little tag on it.
We are ordering you. Here is your orders. Handed U.S. military orders to get the hell out of the sky in Syria. That was the order. So we were like, excuse me? There ain't enough room in this town for the two of us.
And then the military got the call from Obama. No, he's right.
No. They said they refused the order. They
right.
refused the order.
Right.
So they said, thanks, but no thanks. So then they just ignored us completely and said, well, we warned you, and then just started bombing. And apparently, based on Kerry's first press conference, they weren't sure what the hell they were doing.
Right.
But he said, we hope that you're joining us in the battle against ISIS. So then, after that, the subsequent sorties by Russia, they just blew the hell out of all the opposition forces. So then Obama administration came out and said, okay, we don't like this.
You're blowing up the guys that we were funding
and training and all that stuff. So then guess what they did?
So that's where the $500 million and those 5 Syrian guys, that's where they went. That got blown up.
Right, because, that's
5 guys couldn't keep all
it was a good investment until
down.
They blew up. No, but then guess what happened after that? This is my interpretation. Right. My interpretation is Putin was like, well, I don't want them to just totally think that we're just trying to start a proxy war.
Right.
So we'll send in another couple dozen sorties, and we'll blow everything up, so that way we could say, well, we don't know what we're killing.
We blew it all up. Don't matter.
Meanwhile, guess what they're saying?
What's that?
We're killing terrorists.
Right.
The definition of terrorist is really open-minded or very broad, and Putin's probably saying, hey, if they're Syrian, they got to be terrorists, right?
Well,
he's just blowing them all up.
Putin supports Assad and the Assad regime of Syria,
which we oppose.
Or
at least
yes, we do. Back last year in October, a year ago, Putin flatly expressed before an assembly, international convention of sorts, that Obama administration was responsible for arming the Syrians fighting against the president Bashar Assad and his forces, and responsible for creating the political climate that facilitated the region's destabilization. Those remarks were again echoed by Putin during his speech at the UN, where he asserted Russia's commitment to nipping terrorism in the bud. That's what he said. By the way, he was at the UN too.
But here's the thing: if we know that Obama is against Israel, okay,
right?
We know that he's for giving terrorists the biggest state sponsor of terrorism, or the biggest state of terrorists,
right,
in the world, which is Iran. If we know that he wants to arm him with nuclear weapons, then aren't we technically on Putin's side? Because
we should be on Putin's side. However, Obama's got this so ass backwards right now. He's supporting he is supporting terrorists.
Right. So Putin bombing things that, quote, the U.S. opposes
No.
under the Obama administration. Look, the U.S., when the U.S. does foreign affairs
Right.
under Obama, we're doing it under his direction.
Right.
Okay? We know that Obama is a treasonous anti-American person that should be impeached and thrown into the
gulags.
Gulags,
Yeah,
right,
throw him
right.
in a gulag.
That's what we at Smith the Radio, that's our opinion of him. Knowing that he's an anti-Semite, that he's pro-terrorism,
Right.
that he wants to arm all the most vicious America-hating people in the world, and he hates America himself, that is a known fact, then maybe Putin's trying to save America.
Putin said in a statement, he said it, quote,
That's got to be the title of the show. Putin attempting to save America.
Barack Obama is either an idiot or he's purposely trying to destroy the American economy.
My gosh, it sounds like Trump.
Trump came out and this week and said, well, Putin wants to blast ISIS. Let him have at it.
Oh my gosh. So we're right. You heard it here first. Breaking news. Putin is trying to save America.
Remember when I told you that, I don't know even know if I mentioned it. Somebody posted an article and I started reading it. And I just like, this is just, I can't even. I don't need.
You can't wrap your head around it.
I can't wrap my head around it, and I can't even send it to Carrie because, man, this is stupid.
You got to.
The article was Putin goes to Syria to save his Christian brethren.
Wow. I think I'm right about this.
But I think I told you that, and you said Christian. Putin's not Christian. However,
he's more Christian than Obama.
I think he is Christian. Like you got the old Russian regime Christians. It's all kind of cryptic.
Hold on. Can I throw something in? Tell me what you think of this.
I'm listening.
Obama has shown and demonstrated time and time again that he's always going to support two ideologies at all times, no matter what, without question. We know Muslim terrorists, because he's done it with Iran.
Right.
He's always against Benjamin Netanyahu and the Jews in Israel. So that leads, that supports my argument that he's for terrorism and terrorists,
Okay.
Muslim extremists.
Okay.
He's also always going to do everything he can to support and defend communists around the world. That's why he's doing the Cuba thing and everything else. Now, knowing that, we have all these people, Hannity being one, talking about how Putin is ex-KGB and he wants to recreate the USSR in Russia.
Right, absolutely.
I'm now convinced that we have it all backwards. Putin, I don't think Putin wants a communist state. Because if he did, Obama would be supporting him.
Right.
He would be, in fact, Obama would be setting the stage for a total communist takeover of the world where the West would be run by America, and Obama would be the premier of the western side of the USSA, which is the Union of Soviet Socialists in America, and then Putin would reinstate the USSR, which would be the eastern bloc of the communist side of the world, which would be Putin-run Union of Soviet Socialist Republics in the eastern side. That if that was true about Putin, I believe that would be the master plan of Obama. But he's opposing Putin, which means Putin, I believe, doesn't want to have anything to do with communism. Because if he did, he would be supporting him. Obama would be supporting Putin.
Okay, so Christians, and this is from ChristianityToday.com, why Russia's evangelicals thank God for Putin.
Oh my goodness, this is breaking news to me.
We express to you sincere appreciation for your labor in the post of president. We reaffirm our principled loyalty with respect to state authority. Wow. Based on the unchanged words of the Bible, let every soul be in subjection to the higher powers, for there is no power but of God, and the powers that are obtained of God. Okay, so they go on, and then they said that they're very thankful because Putin has brought stability to their region.
And you know what else? Putin is totally open to freedom of religion.
Well,
there's churches all across Russia.
Well, not only that, but there is you heard what he said about gays.
Oh, that's right. Well, I don't remember the exact quote, but I do remember.
He said Obama is turning America into a sewer. He said, I want to reaffirm to the world that Russia is heterosexual.
I do remember him making a statement.
He said,
I know you're paraphrasing.
Yeah. He said, you gay? No way.
hey, gay people in Russia have got to
go. Yes.
I don't know.
We just slipped down a liberal tunnel of chanting.
Yes. Well, they're not even creative anymore.
Right.
Like, so let's rhyme something, but we got to start with hey, ho, ho.
And go.
Something.
So Kerry begged Putin.
Oh, John Kerry. I'm like, what? What did I do?
John Kerry. John, you rang. Kerry begged Putin for deconfliction talks. Now, I kind of did a little look up on this because I apologize. There's just certain things that I just didn't get. Deconfliction talks. TheAtlantic.com defining deconfliction. Its communication is important in any relationship, but it's especially important in a relationship that involves airstrikes. As Krasnev reported, Russia began bombing the Islamic State and other terrorist targets in Syria on Wednesday, reportedly given the Pentagon just an hour's notice. The U.S., which along with several other nations, is carrying out airstrikes in the same region. And they responded by ordering senior defense officials to reach out to their Russian counterparts on Thursday. Both met for deconfliction talks. What is deconfliction? It's the deliberate process for avoiding collision of objects in outer space. Or not outer space, but just in space. Like if you can imagine airspace, ground space, outer space, there's just space.
Okay.
So you don't want to run into another car going down the freeway in space. So they want to avoid these collisions and from aircraft or whatnot. In this case, Syrian airspace. It is a rather clinical term for an all too real, potentially disastrous situation. A more honest definition would be something along the lines of, hey guys, let's make sure we don't shoot down each other's planes by accident, okay? Because that would be really bad. Really bad. Deconfliction requires...
Was it Keanu Reeves?
That was a Keanu Reeves quote. Deconfliction requires a level of cooperation the U.S. has actively avoided with Russia since last spring. Here's what that could have entailed from the Military Times. Okay, so the Military Times at the very end had that last statement that said that the U.S. has actively avoided talks with Russia since last year.
Okay, so
now John Kerry's come and please, Putin, talk to us, come talk. And Putin said, and we ain't deconflicting, we ain't talking.
Deconfliction is changing of a flight path of a craft or weapon in order that there is less chance of an accidental collision.
Right.
So, and in computer science, it's to resolve a contradictory conclusions or responses to queries in rule-based or deductive reasoning systems. So
what's pretty awesome that I got all excited about this week, that's pretty neat, scary at the same time, but pretty neat, that the surgical airstrikes by Russian fighter jets had knocked out the battle headquarters of a jihadist group near Raqqa.
Raqqa?
R-A-Q-Q-A.
Raqqa.
Rectum.
Whoa!
Because that's where they hide stuff.
Right.
So, according to the Russian defense minister, operating from the airbase, the Russian Air Force continues to inflict pinpoint strikes on Islamic State installations. Over the past 24 hours, the Su-34 and the Su-24M fighter jets have performed 20 sorties and hit 9 Islamic State installations. Russian Defense Minister spokesman reported. They also added that yesterday evening, Russian aircraft went on 6 sorties, inflicting strikes on 3 terrorist installations, a bunker-busting BETAB 500 air bomb, which I don't know, but man, that sounds big.
It sounds cool.
It sounds really cool. It was a BETAB 500 air bomb dropped from the Su-34 bomber near Raqqa, has eliminated the command post of one of the terrorist groups, together with an underground storage facility for explosives and munitions.
Oh, man.
Yes.
That must have been epic.
Well, they were showing pictures of explosions. I don't, you never can tell if it's real or not, but that would have been a huge explosion with all that stuff. Terrorist command center was destroyed by the Su-24M and the Su-24-5 attack aircrafts near the town of Khan Shakan in the province.
Can I go ahead and give some? I'm gonna go ahead and give some tactical advice.
Okay, go
to the terrorist.
Note, we're gonna help the terrorists.
Note to terrorists:
listen,
please avoid putting your command posts near storage facilities for explosives and munitions.
Yeah, I guess.
Why do, sir? Why do we have this command post next to all these bombs?
Well, because if I need one, I can just walk out and get one.
Yeah, but can't we get a little distance here?
Right. So there's a statement that somebody made that Russia has done more damage in 48 hours to ISIS than anyone has ever done in
It just takes balls. It takes balls. And let me tell you something.
Big, giant, KGB size. I've come up.
KGB balls.
Right.
Wow.
I started reading the background on Putin and started kind of getting into it. He really, there was an invisible hand guiding him up the ranks and through special. He got some real special treatment in certain different areas and was elected and appointed posts that just didn't seem like he was the first at this and the first at that, and he was appointed this, and people were moving him through.
So it wasn't like he just was he's next in line.
Billy Badass. No,
it wasn't that. It was like, well, next guy in line, who's the highest ranking at this point? Oh, Putin. Well, I mean, somebody's got to do it.
No, it wasn't like that. No, it wasn't like that. He apparently, some of the high ups, Chernobyl. What's his name? The grape juice on his head.
Gorbachev.
Chernobyl.
Gorbachev.
Mikhail. He fancied him.
Really?
Yeah, some of these high ups really fancied
He's still alive
Putin
too, I think,
and brought him up through the ranks pretty quick. He, in a weird way, kind of won the presidency, sorta, kinda. Like, I'm just gonna do it. Nobody's gonna oppose me.
Well, what happens in that situation is if what you're saying is true, everybody was elbowing him and saying, dude, let's go. It's your thing, man. Go.
Absolutely.
Because they already knew he was the best of the best. He was the top of everything, right? They were like, man, we need Putin, go. And he was like, I got this, boys. And then he took it.
Right.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is what strong leaders are able to accomplish, and it's been so long. Even though Bush, a lot of people like Bush, I liked Bush the whole 8 years he was in. I liked Bush the last 3 years when they had bashed him into oblivion, because I remember the good things about him, and the bad things were just him ignoring the criticism. Right. That's all it was.
Right.
But he never was a truly, seriously strong leader. He was very good at making you feel like you were important. When you were in the room alone with him, he comforted people who were upset and crying. He did a great job. He was able to get that megaphone and say, "They're all going to hear us. All those terrorists are going to hear us." And it was kind of talk, but then he did act by actually attacking. But it was so measured. It was so measured. A real leader is doing what Putin did.
He wanted to play the sides, and he wanted to come to the middle and shake. Obama. Bush was certainly, without a doubt, a GOP establishment guy that was more willing to cross the lines. He gave the Democrats so much, and the Democrats never gave him anything back.
That's standard.
Right.
That's how it works.
So Trump this week said, I guess they asked him a question on leadership, and he said, I give Putin an A on leadership compared to this Obama thing.
Well, of course he was going to give Obama an F.
He was paraphrasing that Obama thing.
Okay.
But yeah, there's no question about it that he would give Obama an F.
But it's interesting that he gave Putin an A.
In the light of this Obama going on, I give Putin an A in leadership.
Based on everything that we've just talked about, of this whole Putin, Obama, the airstrikes, the leadership, the reactions, that photograph, it's not a photograph, drawing. A drawing.
Drawing.
It's a drawing. The drawing of Putin winking at you with giant guns, huge,
flexing these huge muscles, yeah.
And a little boy Obama.
He was like a little Cub Scout boy,
and he was fixated on the muscle. He was staring at it like he couldn't take his eyes off of the guns. He was feeling on it.
He was drawn as if he was like a 10-year-old boy or something. 10-year-old boy with the little Cub Scout necktie on, the Boy Scout necktie on. And then Putin, you could see his hand was wrapped around the little boy's shoulder.
Yeah,
Obama.
like around his back. Yeah.
Right, right. And he's just fixated on that muscle.
But Putin was winking at the viewer.
Us, right.
Yeah, at you as you look at the picture. And not even acknowledging. All he acknowledged with the boy, Obama, was that, yeah, he's feeling my arm. But, they're all going to feel my arm.
Yeah, everybody does.
They're all enamored with me.
Yes, they are.
And Obama, you could have been like, hey, I got candy over here, and didn't matter.
He wouldn't even hear you.
Fixated on that muscle.
There's also I guess it would be a meme, but there's a picture. Putin loves to go around with his shirt off. He's
on the horse. Right?
Whenever he goes horseback riding, he has his I don't know what you would call them, but they're like
chaps,
like pants. Well, like military pants and his military boots.
Okay,
no shirt. And he gets on a horse. He goes horseback riding.
Okay.
Somebody cut the picture of Obama riding a bicycle with a helmet on. They cut that off and put him on the back of Putin's horse.
Oh, I remember that. That's an old picture.
Holding Putin and sitting on the back of the horse while Putin's riding the horse.
With his helmet on.
With his helmet, his bicycle helmet still on.
Oh, man.
By the way, Putin doesn't wear any protection.
Wait, what?
No, he doesn't wear any protection whatsoever.
What are we talking about here?
But he's riding his horse.
Oh, you mean like a helmet?
No helmet whatsoever.
No.
Dude, he goes shirtless. No chaps to protect. He goes bareback. Doesn't even ride with a saddle.
Wait. He goes bareback?
No protection, bareback.
Wow. This is a family show.
I'm just saying that if you want to call out, like...
I can describe it for you.
Like a very wealthy, badass redneck, you could say that almost would be Putin.
Putin would definitely fit that description.
He's like, I'm Billy Bad,
but there's people listening that they're a very wide definition of redneck. So
yeah, and I'm only saying it because if you've ever met anybody that claims, yeah, I'm a redneck, but they've got millions of dollars in the bank, dude, they're awesome to hang out with.
There's people out there that would call somebody a redneck because they're racist.
Oh no.
Yeah. I just want to clear that up.
Yeah, no. I say it in the sense that there's no refinement to him, if you will. Like,
there's no pampering.
Right.
They were not.
He doesn't wear white gloves, and he doesn't wear a jihab, the hobjib.
What?
Like Obama did. He put the towel on his head, wrapped his head up, and wore Islamic clothes and dresses, and or like Seinfeld. I don't want to wear the pirate shirt.
Oh, right. That's
with the ruffles.
That would be the opposite of
that. Would be what Obama would wear. And Prince, the singer Prince, Prince's attire, Obama's attire, the opposite of Putin's attire.
Well, and here's the big difference. Here's the contrast I noticed, and I'm glad you brought up the bicycle thing because that's what jogged my memory as far as what would be best to describe the contrast between the two. Obama looks at leadership like this. Hey, it's important that people wear safety gear so that they don't get hurt, like helmets and stuff like that. So I'm going to show them that it's cool by wearing the helmet when I bike ride, and that way I'm going to lead by example.
Yes!
And Putin is like, I'm going to show everybody how tough I am by daring to ride this horse with nothing but a loincloth on.
Whoa!
You know what I mean?
He goes out and wrestles grizzly bears.
Yeah, and wants everybody to see that he can do it.
Right.
Yeah. So
ain't nothing I can't do.
Right, and there's your difference of leadership.
It's like Tall Stories of Paul Bunyan.
And he's done that.
Yes!
And he knows how effective that is.
And do you know what his people are saying about him right now?
I can't even imagine.
They're talking about him being, this great, awesome savior, this guy who's really...
That saved Mother Russia?
Yes, they are putting him so high on this pedestal because he is eliminating the evils from this world.
Because of these airstrikes.
Right.
Interesting. I mean... but what do you think about that?
So check this out.
Okay.
This week, China had a bunch of battleships and cruisers and ships, military ships, sailed to Russia, to Syria to help Putin.
Okay.
And then apparently Iran supposedly is claiming that they'll help Putin too.
So we're the only ones not on board.
He doesn't want us on board. And I think
why?
Because he doesn't want us to have any claim to fame.
Well, no, I think
he wants this is all him all day. This is my coalition. This is me, Putin, running the show.
Oh, so no, I understand that about Putin.
Oh, okay.
But why are we the only ones not on board?
Because you're killing Muslims.
Exactly.
You don't want to kill the Muslims.
Well, you're saying it like he doesn't want to kill Muslims because we shouldn't kill people. But I say he doesn't want to kill Muslims because he wants non-Muslims dead.
Well, not only that, but I mean, think about this. We just gave, not just, but Obama gave Egypt a couple dozen F-16s just a few years ago.
Yeah, we just said that earlier.
Right. And if Egypt feels that they need to get involved in this,
they're going to be on the...
They are the Muslim Brotherhood. Egypt is run by the Muslim Brotherhood.
Now, is ISIS have a foothold, or is that the same thing? What's its relationship between ISIS and Muslim Brotherhood? Would they support the ISIS, the caliphate, and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
So really, we have been invaded and taken over by terrorists in the U.S. government who are acting on behalf of the Muslim Brotherhood and ISIS. People like you and me, I mean, I'm just now discovering this during this show, by the way, people. We're looking at Putin from the inside. It's like, you know what we are? We're those Germans during World War II that were against the Nazis.
Right.
That's what we are.
Right.
We're the Stauffenberg.
Oh.
That's what we are.
Dude, you're about ready to make me cry.
I mean, how is it not? But here's the thing. Stauffenberg knew what the Nazis were doing,
right,
and was opposed from the get-go. There's a lot of people like us who believe in America the way we believe in America,
right,
and have the ideals that we do, that might not realize that Obama is supporting communists and Muslims on behalf of America in a way that we are totally opposed to.
Right.
Which is the same as Stauffenberg during World War II. By the way, I'm referring to the movie Valkyrie, which you should definitely, absolutely required viewing for anybody who listens to the show. You go not only watch the movie Valkyrie, but also in the special features, there's a 2-hour-long show made by the Discovery Channel about... it's a documentary about Stauffenberg, Colonel Stauffenberg, who the movie Valkyrie is about.
Right.
And he was opposed to the Nazis. And as a military person in what?
Oregon mass shooter on terror list. Obama refused to take.
We have breaking news from
apparently Russia had placed this guy on a terrorist list.
The Oregon shooter?
Yeah.
Russia had the Oregon shooter on a terrorist list?
Yeah.
So maybe this is actually, you want to hear conspiracy? This may have been ordered by Obama.
It might have. You know, this Oregon shooter is just so... And he came out... So,
why would you get in a firefight with the police?
Not only that, but he just before that, the clock boy.
Yep.
They have a name for him. They call him Clock Med or Clock Mahat.
Clock. Well, there's Ahmed. You're saying
Right.
Clock Med?
Clock Med.
Clock Med.
Right. The clock boy went to the UN.
Yeah, I heard about that because his dad is involved there.
Right. So
That's something really weird.
So why did that come up in the sort of not really, and then it come out that it was all fake, and now this mass shooting that was just doesn't.
I don't want to be George Norrie on you.
I'm trying not to go George Norrie.
Trying not to go George Norrie.
Folks, we're not coast to coast.
We're not coast to coast.
We're not coast to coast.
By the way, I have to use the facility, so go ahead and take about 5 callers. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's what George Norrie does, but he doesn't say it. He just does it.
Wow. Okay, breaking news. Russia uses high-tech smart bombs to wipe out U.S.-sponsored al-Qaeda terrorists. Panic in rebel ranks.
When they say U.S. sponsored, we have to start distinguishing. It's
Obama sponsored,
right? Well, in World War II, there is a distinct difference, and a lot of people didn't distinguish between them, but they should.
Right.
Between Germans and Nazis.
Right.
I mean, even back in the 40s, Americans generally didn't say we're going to go fight the Germans. They said we're going to go fight the Nazis.
Wow.
So, yeah. Well, we need to distinguish between a U.S.-led or a U.S.-backed action and an Obama-backed action.
Absolutely.
Because he's anti-American. He should be impeached. The only reason he hasn't been is because Boehner, apparently.
Boehner?
Boehner.
Boehner
must have had something. He's being blackmailed. We talked about that in the show.
Yeah.
Who leaves the position of power for no reason?
I mean, there's just so many coincidental things that are just kind of happening in a weird...
I guess we're going to be coast to coast.
A weird way. Yeah. No, it just doesn't... I'm sorry, folks. It just doesn't make any sense. If it doesn't make any sense, you must have quit. No, I just...
You just used the Chewbacca defense?
I did, in invoking Obama. Folks, I really, really, honestly, I don't get it.
Well, you know what it is? It's so obvious, right? The conspiracy that we're talking about,
right?
If it were even remotely believable, it's obvious.
Right.
But because it's something that's so terrible, it's hard to accept that we've been taken over by a Muslim communist.
Right. Now, would you say that Obama, I know you would say this, but I'm just being rhetorical about it. So Obama's position, he is the head of the military.
But he's the commander-in-chief.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if something happens in the military, if we do something wrong, he kind of gets the blame for it a little bit.
If who does what wrong?
If the military does something wrong.
Well, it would technically be considered... it would be an act of insubordination if they acted without his order.
Okay.
Without his order. They can't go against his orders.
U.S. airstrikes in Afghan, they bombed a hospital.
U.S. forces.
Yeah, killed all these doctors, bunch of staff, medics frantically calling NATO.
In which
called
country?
D.C., Afghanistan.
Just recently.
Yeah, this just happened the other day. 19 dead. People are calling for war crimes. Patients were burning in their beds.
Where'd you find this article? Because
Yahoo. No.
You want to hear something interesting?
What's that?
When Russia first started attacking, very first thing, a caller to one of the radio stations called in and said, "You know what? When we were doing Afghanistan and especially in Iraq, the media went on an absolute mission to make sure that all collateral damage was front and center to oppose to propagandize
during Bush's reign.
Yes.
Right.
To propagandize the public to oppose the war and to call Bush a war criminal.
I didn't think we were still bombing in Afghanistan.
I know. With that, I'll get to that in a
okay.
second. I'll get to that. That's kind of weird. Okay, so the caller said, isn't it interesting that Putin's doing all this bombing and we hear about collateral damage, but where are all these media people taking pictures and saying, look at all this collateral damage? Well, within 48 hours of that caller, the pictures and reports started flooding in, which would have been ordered by Obama. You know, he would have said, hey, we need to we oppose what Putin's doing.
Right.
Let's show him how we do it. We're going to start putting out all these reports of hospitals getting hit, of all this collateral damage. And you just said yourself, I didn't even know we were doing anything in Afghanistan anymore. Could it be that this report that you just said of a hospital getting bombed in Afghanistan by U.S. forces, propaganda from Putin?
Oh, yeah, sure. It very well might be.
It's going to be a nasty knockdown, drag-out war of false reports, false pictures, propaganda out the wazoo. We're talking Cold War II, which is what we thought initially. Actually, we are the Nazi Germany of modern day, where you have Obama and his communist Muslim administration,
right,
acting on behalf of America in the same way that Hitler and Nazis and the Nazi administration acted on behalf of Germany.
Right, because the majority of Germans were not.
Oh no, a vast majority
they would not support.
They would have not have bought into the whole concentration camp.
However, they stayed quiet in the sense because they didn't want to be killed themselves.
Right, and I don't think we're at that point yet. But here's how you combat that.
But back in that day, back in the 30s, how would you, like us, living in Middle America, how would you, living in Middle Germany, get the word out?
Well, that would have been difficult.
Like what we can do now with technology and.
But here's the thing: back then, if you tried to and got caught, you were executed.
Right.
In America, so far, and that very well may change. I mean, the words I'm saying in this show right now could be what causes me to be executed when Obama takes over as premier of the USSA.
Right.
Okay. So
the problem is I'm president, not the emperor.
Right. He might be the emperor, premier. And for those of you that don't know, that are too young, premier was the title of the leader of communist USSR.
Okay.
They called him the premier.
The premier.
So if you wanted to go assassinate the leader of Russia, you want to go assassinate the premier.
Okay.
That's what they would say. So anyway, that being said, in Germany, they were worried about being executed if they tried to get the word out. Right. In America, there is no fear of that yet. So how do you combat that problem of people like us speaking out? You keep all this stuff secret, and you make it sound like you're operating on behalf of the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, American ideals, the family unit. So the whole thing is just complete lies. And
right.
So there's a lot of people out there who believe in the ideology of capitalism and conservatism who are like, we're fighting terrorists over there in Syria. When in actuality, we're arming Iran with nukes, and we're probably supporting terrorists in all the Middle Eastern countries to try to destroy Israel.
Right.
Which is clear. Well, how's that not clear?
When we've been talking about this for so long on this show, the leader of Iran, the religious leader that everybody has to go through, even if you're the president, you still have to carry out the orders of the Ayatollah Khomeini. The Ayatollah, during the negotiations, said, we will kill every single person in Israel. We're going to have a yearly parade where we talk about the death of Israel and the West. In 25 years, Israel will no longer cease to exist on this planet. And we do what? As the President of the United States tries to get another country to feed them nuclear fuel, because maybe that might be all right instead of us, because we really want to give them nuclear fuel, but that might not look so good. It might look bad. So we don't actually physically get it. It's like telling your friend, "Hey man, I really like that candy bar over there, but I don't want to steal it. But if you take it, you steal it, then I'll hook you up later on."
Steal it and then give it to him?
Right. Go get it for me, and then we'll give it later on. I mean, it's just like it's childish. It's childish is what it is. It's childish to go to another country and ask that country to do something bad.
Well, they have to because they want to be able to deny that they did it. So you're saying that's childish? I think it's
it's playground stuff.
Well, it's just it's
Putin ain't down with that. Wow. Putin does not want to see these terrorists flourish. He said he's done with the beheadings.
I'm just blown away.
Yes!
I'm blown away by the fact that we are against Obama and for Putin, the leader of Russia.
I still can't. I've been thinking
really
about
hard.
this all week, and I'm finding it so difficult to wrap my head around it.
It's an unbelievable conspiracy theory that what Obama's doing.
Right. Well, yeah. But if you think about it, he has had all the abilities and all the opportunities to stop ISIL, as he calls it.
As he calls it.
Right. Or ISIS, as we all know it. But he hasn't done anything. He fund 5 Syrian rebels with $500 million?
That money went somewhere.
Right. Where? To who? And what did they buy?
How many millions dollars?
500.
So he could have given each one of those
fund.
5.
Congress funded an operation to train Syrian rebels. In the end, the money's gone. What was produced? 5 Syrian rebels. 5. The rest was gone. They maybe died something.
They could have either gotten executed or they could have just ran away.
And those Syrian rebels were fighting to fight Bashar al-Assad, the president of Syria, who Putin supports. We are in a proxy war with Russia.
Yeah, but the thing is people like us
We're not agreeing.
We're on Russia's side.
We're not agreeing. If, for all intents and purposes, and folks, I know you're going to hate to hear that. You're going to hate to hear this. I know that back during World War II, that Russia was bad. I know they weren't the best.
Well, they were a communist country. It's totally bad.
Right.
Yeah.
The leader was obsessed with Hitler, and he was just a weird guy. Anyway, so Hitler crossed the line with him and invaded Russia, and then he's like, "No, America, I'll fight with you."
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we fought alongside Russia, in the war against the evils of Hitler.
I think I know where you're going with this. That America needs to team up with Russia.
I'm not
and fight.
I am not mad about that.
About Islam.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing. There's a big difference. I'm actually more for it than you are, because the Russia that we had to team up with to fight Hitler was the communist country of USSR,
which is no longer around.
Now Putin. There's a lot of people, I think Hannity's kind of spearheading it, where it's like, he's trying to get Russia back together. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's not a communist country. He's allowing churches. One of the big things about communist Russia back in the day was no more churches at all. No religion.
You got to crush that religion thing.
Yeah, the only religion that's allowed is the religion of atheism.
Or the religion of the government, communism.
Right.
You
well,
believe
that's part of the structure. So, like, the religion of Christianity has churches. The religion of atheism has government buildings.
Government building. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, but anyway, so it's different. I feel like it's a little bit more palatable to support and fight alongside of Putin against Islam.
Because Putin and Russians are not going around cutting off heads of Christians.
Well, that, and they're not pushing communism. They just aren't doing it.
No.
They are not doing anything. Name me something that Russia or Putin or either one or acting on their behalf that is furthering a communist agenda. They're just not doing it.
No.
You got Obama who's pushing communist agenda.
Oh, yeah.
He is supporting and defending and doing all kinds of stuff in favor of communist regimes such as Cuba.
Right.
And he's doing everything to arm and support terrorists in the Middle East, Muslim terrorists.
Right.
So what do you want me to do?
Well, I mean, we come on this show every single Sunday and we tell you about what Obama has done to benefit ISIS, ISIL, Muslims in the Middle East. Remember that article that we read where they got the high-end Toyotas accidentally? It's like, 50 high-end Toyota pickup trucks. ISIS accidentally got a hold of all of them.
I thought they got a hold of our American...
The keys weren't... No, this is just a recent thing.
Oh, okay.
Obama shipped a bunch of Toyotas over there. The H Toyotas. They're the really Hilux. Hilux.
Oh, that's right. I remember talking about that. Yep.
Yeah, and the 50 of them, and all of a sudden...
and we made it sound like it was a big blunder, but it's coming full circle. I feel like I'm taking all of our different episodes that we've had for like the past year, and all the information from it is all... it's like a puzzle, and we're finally fitting those
I don't
last
think you
pieces
could.
together.
You couldn't find enough money... secretly divert enough money, secretly, or attempt to be secret about it, divert enough money, divert enough support and enough power to ISIS to stop or slow Russia. I don't think you could. I think you would have to come out and say, okay, America, we're fighting Russia for ISIS.
You know what this is like?
Somebody said that Obama went to Congress Wednesday and asked for articles of war.
Yeah, I think did he ask or did he ask and receive? Did he receive it?
I don't know. But he did ask to go to war.
Right. Because he's trying to one-up Putin by saying, no, we're going to lead this fight.
Right. Because you know what Obama do if he leads the fight. He'll lead it astray in a way.
Something.
Like he's been doing for the last 6 years.
You know what this feels like? Because Obama is the administration that's communist, and he's pushing for a communist agenda and all, and he's fighting for communists, for terrorists and all that. And then we got somebody, Mitt Romney would have been a lot more conservative, but then we'll have maybe Trump, let's say, or Cruz, or Fiorina, whatever, and they're going to fight on behalf of capitalism against... I feel like if this was going on back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, that... whichever administration was in power in America, that's which side we were going to be fighting on and for in the Korean War and Vietnam War. So while conservative is in power, let's say during the 50s, during the Korean War,
right,
we'd be fighting and funding and fighting alongside South Koreans. And as soon as the administration changes, we move everybody up to north and fight down south and try to take over the south. That's what I feel like right now.
I feel that way, yeah.
As soon as Obama's out, all the stuff that he has been supporting and pushing for and all the alliances he has
will turn around
go
and
completely opposite whoever takes over, whether it's Cruz, Fiorina, Ben Carson, or Trump, or any of them.
Don't you dare eliminate the possibility of Hillary.
Well, no, if Hillary takes over, it'll just be Obama times 3.
Judge trolled me, one of his articles.
Oh, yeah, he always does.
Hillary hell.
What about it?
Hillary hell. He's saying that Hillary's in hell right now.
Wait a minute.
Because things are going so bad.
Well, Hillary hell could mean several things. It could mean that she's in hell, or it could mean that we are in the hell of Hillary.
She's running around screaming, all hell, not again, all hell, not again, all hell.
Okay.
But anyway, but that is a really weird thing, that scenario that you just pointed out.
Yeah, imagine in Vietnam, you got one administration where we're fighting down in South and trying to battle North. And then
we turn around and then we support Ho Chi Minh, and
we go up north and start fighting down south. That's how bad it's gotten in America. We are in a battle for America between the a conservative would be somebody that conserves the Constitution, the American way, America, American flag, everything about America as was founded.
Right.
Against the people who are like the supporters of Obama and those who
want to tear down the very freedoms that we cherish.
And which means burning and rewriting a new constitution, which
Right.
would be more like the constitution that FDR wanted to implement.
Right.
Which is pretty much an American version of the Communist Manifesto.
Right.
Where you have the right to labor, the right to health care. All that stuff.
You
was
got to
written.
fight for all that stuff. You don't have the right to it. You have to fight for it.
FDR was all. We had a whole
did.
show about that.
Yeah.
You should go back and read or listen to our show about the FDR Bill of Rights. We went through each and every one of them until I got caught up because of time considerations. Speaking of which,
Yeah, we're running down low.
yep.
We got 5 minutes.
Were we going to talk about the?
East Coast rain. Hadn't seen rain like that in 200
What about
years.
the Pope?
Oh,
and
yeah,
Kim
we
Davis.
forgot about the Pope.
Pope and Kim Davis.
Oh, so now it's come out.
Very quickly.
Kim Davis did meet with the Pope. She met with him for 15 minutes.
Wait a minute, I didn't hear this. Breaking news to me. The story was that it was not completely not public. Pope met with Kim Davis, but then it leaked. As soon as it leaked, when questioned, the Pope said, "Whoa, you must be talking about a different Pope.
No,
not this Pope."
No, he spent 15 minutes with her.
So he backtracked, and then so the new news is that they're confirming it.
No, the original news was that he spent 15 minutes with her.
Okay, but then he backtracked and said, "I don't know who you're talking about."
Right. So he's lying.
What kind of a Christian?
Because this came from her lawyer.
Okay, well, I mean, lawyers are
No.
liars.
Come on.
Was
Obama's
it-
a lawyer.
Was it Johnny Cochran?
From the dead.
Obama's a lawyer.
Well, he claimed to be. No, so this originally the story came out and said that she had scheduled this, or it was scheduled.
It was scheduled.
Yes, this was a
Because
scheduled ordeal.
I didn't know whether he decided I want to meet Kim Davis, or she said I'm going to go see if I can track him down and say, "Hey!"
No, she had connections with somebody of some sorts, and they got her a sit down,
Oh, that's awesome.
like a 15-minute sit down.
I think it's
And then
extremely cowardly that he tried to backtrack.
And he said, "I met with LGBT couples
Interesting.
to talk to them about garage."
About how they're going to hell.
No, he would never say that. Never. They're people too.
They're
They're
well,
people.
People do go to hell.
Oh, not these people. They're the chosen ones.
Oh, they're the chosen ones. They're the
right.
protected one. They're protected class.
They lots of protection.
So, oh wow, woo! We don't get anything past you guys. Wow.
Yeah, so I don't understand what I mean. The left is all up in arms that she met with the Pope,
Which
The-
is
the
why
Pope
he's
is all up in
backtracking,
arms.
which is
Yeah.
just so cowardly.
This Pope is a full-fledged communist. He's in love
Yeah.
with, and he'll call it socialism, and he loves to love the socialism and the social programs and all the things. He came from a poor, humble background.
Where's he from?
Blah, blah, blah.
Argentina?
Yeah, maybe.
They said he grew up in a communist
Yeah.
country, so Argentina is kind of that way.
This was Venezuela.
Is he from Venezuela?
No, Argentina is
Somebody
not
call
communist.
in.
They're
We
not
have 30 seconds.
They're not communist anymore. So no, it's storm came in on the East Coast and sat on top of North Carolina, South Carolina. They've got monsoon rains that they haven't seen in over 200 years. Rainfall came down in 24 hours, 14 inches, and then another further southeast came down 24 inches of rain. Obama calls a state of emergency and says, "We're going to send you some federal agents." Bernie Sanders, independent Vermont senator, and Hillary Dems are running. Bernie is attracting crowds of 20,000 in Boston, doubles what Obama had in 2008. Revised numbers because they forgot to count the people outside waiting still to get in.
Oh, wow.
24,000 people to see the outspoken socialist Bernie Sanders. He's
And
an
by the way,
outspoken.
we talked about last episode. Go listen to last episode.
Yes,
Got it?
The last episode.
Listen to the last episode because
Oh, ouch! Wow.
I talked about how we There's no such thing as a socialist.
No, it's a road. So Hillary's losing it. She spent 90% of all her money. She's done. We're done. You guys have a good night now. We're all over the place for you.
See ya. Oh, hear what McCarthy said. Benghazi.
With unfathomable power. What kind of power? Unfathomable. It's without fathom.
The only thing I would like to say is a question that I would like to ask is...
Whoa, that was a slip up. By the way, McCarthy, don't elect him because he's a loser. Call him Benghazi a hedge for just to try and get Hillary Clinton out of the office, trying to mess her up.
He's from California. What do you expect?
I expect nothing less. This is the after show, post show. 7 seconds.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.